All right, good evening. Today is Monday, May 20th, 2024. We'll now call the City Council regular meeting to order at 6:31 p.m. Item number 2, our roll call. We do have a quorum of council. Item number 3 is our pledge, would it be led by Jason Mangum, Assistant City Manager.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you, Jason. All right, so next we have presentations and recognition. We're going to go ahead and do item 4C, recognition, Missouri City Municipal Court Awards for Municipal Traffic Safety Initiative. We have a presentation by Councilmember Riley.
Can you hear me? Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Mayor, for giving me the opportunity to present this award. Can we have the Municipal Court, Brittany, and your crew, your team, to come on up to receive your recognition? Mayor, looks like their award is fancier than ours.
Yes, there it is.
All righty. I'm going to read off just some information just to recognize the great work that they're doing over there in the municipal courts. And then, Brittany, I'm going to ask that you share a few words. Okay, do you want to share some words first? No? Okay, the Texas Municipal Court Education Center's Municipal Traffic Safety Initiatives grant recently sponsored a traffic safety awards competition to recognize those municipal courts that have demonstrated outstanding contributions to safety, to traffic, preventing impaired driving in their respective communities. All municipal courts in the state of Texas were eligible to apply. And guess who applied? Yes, the city of Missouri City. Applicants were judged on their activities relating to increasing traffic safety while preventing impaired driving, traffic crashes, traffic fatalities, juvenile DUIs, child safety, seat offenses, red light running, and other traffic-related offenses. So now join me, Councilmember Riley, in presenting this special award and congratulating the Municipal Court in winning the Texas Municipal Courts Education Center's Municipal Traffic Safety Initiative Award.
All right.
Congratulations. We're going to take a quick picture. Brittany, can you share a few words?
It really does take our whole team. We do a lot of things out in the community, whether it's at events, whether it's reaching out to schools, or doing social media posts with our communications team. It takes the entire team, and they do a lot of things outside of the normal working hours to keep our community safe, so I'm very proud of them.
All right, awesome.
Okay, and this is her fancy award that she got that they came to show off, so congratulations.
Thank you. All right. Next, we have item 4B, recognition Don and Penny Johnson as the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality 2024 Individuals of the Year. We have a presentation by Councilmember Anthony Maroulis.
Donna and Penny, please come forward. And you can bring your family as well. I see some grandchildren and while they come up, we want to welcome Donna and Penny's family.
Yes.
I had the honor to serve on the Parks Board with Don. Learned a lot from Don. And Penny's done some wonderful things in our community. Taught my kids how to plant trees, and there's lots of landmarks out here on behalf of you guys. So come forward, family. All right, I'll sit in the middle of you guys. Flank left, flank left. All right. On Wednesday, May 15th, the Texas Commission of Environmental Quality recognized the winners of the 2024 Texas Environmental Excellence Awards. These annual awards recognize environmental preservation and protection achievements and have honored more than 250 successful individuals, projects, and activities. Don and Penny Johnson have been volunteering and leading environmental educational efforts here in the city of Missouri City and in Fort Bend, and they've done that for over 2 decades. After retiring from teaching in 2003, they embarked on a 21-year career of educating the public about various aspects about sustainability, nature, wildlife, preventing pollution, and protecting our environment. It is with great honor, with great pride, that we, the city of Missouri City, and all the people here, honor you, Don and Penny, on this day for receiving the Texas Commission of Environmental Quality 2024 Individual Award and a Lifetime Environmental Educational Effort. It's a long sentence. Congratulations. We have certificates for you guys. If you'll open that up. Certificates. Let's give them a round of applause for all their effort. And we're going to run a video real quick so you guys can see it. We have a video. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, I'm going to bring it. Wait, we're going to have, yes.
What the Johnsons have given this community is a set of role models to look up to. They have given us the seeds for learning about the environment, but they don't just teach it, they live it, and they breathe it every day.
Don Johnson is Master Gardener, Master Naturalist, Museum Docent, Missouri City Green volunteer, and someone that enjoys giving talks on the environment.
I'm Penny Johnson, and I'm a mom, I'm a grandma, I'm a gardener, I'm a retired teacher. When we started out volunteering, we never set out to do all the things that we've ended up doing over a long period of time. We started out as master gardeners, and it seemed that one thing led to another.
I believe Don and Penny are winning the Texas Environmental Excellence Award because they have dedicated thousands of hours, volunteer hours over the last 20 years in just making our community better. And not just Missouri City, but the community in Fort Bend County and Houston.
Don and Penny Johnson are insect lovers, bird lovers, people who care very deeply about the environment and all the things that live in it.
We created the whole backyard with native plants, adapted plants, plants that attract butterflies. And I think the residents of Texas could learn some things by looking at our garden and hearing of our philosophy. To enjoy nature in your own backyard, extend your house to one more room. I guess my secret to inspire others is that I show them how excited I am about various things. To me, looking at a little caterpillar is exciting. It's life. It's something that you want in your yard.
What people can gain from Don and Penny is that you don't have to have a job in an environmental field to make a difference. You can do it in your garden. You can do it volunteering at a school. You can do it at a museum. I think that every little step leads to more. Those pebbles of sand add up to a beach. And Don and Penny have created a beach. But we all can do that.
Be a leader, be a helper, be a volunteer.
I think by being involved and volunteering and being part of the community, everything's just more enjoyable.
Everyone needs a purpose, so I enjoy working with other people. And no matter what their age is, I will try to teach them something. I can't get away from it.
At this time, I'd like to ask Angie and Missouri City Green to come forward so we can take a quick photo. And I think Don wants to say something.
Angie is responsible for all of this. She's the one that wrote everything up and made us do this.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely. Anyone else who wants to come? I don't know how I got stuck with this plant, but it's a nice plant. Where? Everybody wants to do it.
Thank you all. Next, we'll take item 4D, proclamation for National Public Works Week will be presented by Mayor Pro Tem Len Klauser.
Where is he? Okay. I think I want to be a master gardener now. I'm going to switch this thing up. Can I get every member of the Public Works team to come forward, please? We should have had some theme music for them. Come on down.
First there and last out. Sashi, no banner, man? First in, last out?
Have that for you, council member.
Hello. These are the first people in an emergency and the last people out.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, yes. So if you did not know, this is National Public Works Week. And we're going to follow that video up with another great video. So if you all will lend your attention to the screen. shoot.
Greetings, Missouri City. National Public Works Week is here once again. Observed each year during the third week of May, the American Public Works Association uses this week to raise awareness of public works issues that have a direct impact on the quality of life for present and future generations. This year's National Public Works Week's theme is Advancing Quality of Life for All. In the most recent citizen survey, our residents rated public works services such as the maintenance of streets, sidewalk, and traffic infrastructure as the most important to them. In this short video, we will highlight the dedicated professionals within Missouri City Public Works who strive each and every day towards advancing the quality of life for all in our community.
Public Works maintains, repairs, and makes upgrades to city streets, sidewalks, and ditches. The City of Missouri City has a total of 773 lane miles of road, with 90% being concrete roads. Our current projects include a $4 million street rehabilitation that involves panel replacement, asphalt road repair, and pavement lifting. Public Works also responds to weather emergencies that impact the roadway and right-of-ways of the city. It is our job as Public Works to maintain a safe riding and walking community for all citizens.
This year marks the 50th anniversary of the Safe Drinking Water Act, which plays a significant role in advancing the quality of life for all. The City of Missouri City recognizes the Act's significant contributions to improving and protecting water quality. This year, the city is allocating over $28 million on water and wastewater improvement projects. The city will also focus on planned expansions, improvements, and a new transmission line to bring surface water to additional sections of Missouri City to meet growth and regulatory requirements. The City of Missouri City works with the utilities team to ensure that we are upgrading our water and wastewater treatment facilities to account for current and future growth. A safe and well-managed water supply is essential to our good health and enhances our quality of life.
The Engineering Division within Public Works oversees the development and implementation of public infrastructure within the city. From drainage to new utility lines to street reconstruction, we work to advance the quality of life for all our residents and visitors. Currently, we are working to bring $18 million in new roadway infrastructure, from new signals along Lake Olympia Parkway to full reconstruction of local streets such as Cave Run and Lantern Lane. Next year, we're also looking to invest an additional $10 million in needed street reconstruction. To ensure safety for everyone using our city streets, Public Works is initiating a new traffic calming program as a community-driven avenue to address speeding and cut through traffic within our city.
We are the award-winning Missouri City Public Works team, advancing quality of life for all.
Did y'all see how cool Marcus was with his hands in his pockets? Just, yeah. All right, so we have a proclamation. These are the fun things that we get to do. We have a proclamation recognizing your team. Whereas Public Works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, emergency management, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of Missouri City. And whereas Public Works professionals, including engineers, technicians, administrators, and other dedicated employees, play a crucial role in planning, designing, constructing, and maintaining public infrastructure and facilities. And whereas Public Works services provided included services such as water supply, wastewater treatment, solid waste management, transportation systems, public buildings, parks, and other essential services. And where it is in the public interest for citizens, civic leaders, and children in Missouri City to gain knowledge and maintain ongoing interest in understanding of the importance of public works first responders and public works programs in their respective communities, And whereas the theme of this year's Public Works Week is Stronger Together, which emphasizes the partnership between public works professionals and the communities they serve. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Pro Tem Lynn Clouser, along with our Mayor, Robin Ellicott, the other city council members, and the city of Missouri City, do hereby proclaim May 19th through the 25th, 2024, as National Public Works Week in the city of Missouri City. And we urge all citizens to join with the representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals. Y'all, give it up for our public works team.
Well, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, Mayor, and Council. I just want to stand corrected. The current year's theme is Advancing Quality of Life for All. First, we always have the trust of the citizens of Missouri City Council and our city manager. That's because this team is known for getting things done. Rain or freeze, we're always there. First to respond and last to leave. We could not have done that without the dedicated professionals here who are in front of us here today, and a lot of us are in the back who are working. We again thank you for this recognition and proclamation. We have a number of educative videos. The Public Works Week is to educate the residents about what we do in public works to enhance the quality of their lives. So we have a number of educational videos throughout the week, and I want to thank one person here. He's busy man, Jackson, who helped us put this video, and the rest of the communications team. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Imagine, please join us. Great job. All right. Next item is 4A, May 2024 National Cities, Towns, and Village Month. All right. Well, thank you to our city's communication department for putting the videos together. Thank you all. And they told me that they were not going to have a video for this, so. I do have a proclamation, but before I give that proclamation, we have someone that serves on city council that is part of the National League of Cities that serves, attends every single meeting, and is out there not only attending but coming back with ideas and that helps the city of Missouri City. So I get to give this to him. So let me introduce you to our council member, Jeffrey Elboni. Come on down. So I'm not going to say any more about it, but I think I want everyone to know what this is and what it does. So it's a proclamation whereas the National League of Cities was founded in 1924 in Lawrence, Kansas as the American Municipal Association by state municipal leagues seeking more coordination and national representation as cities, towns, and villages expanded rapidly, and whereas the National League of Cities works in partnership with 49 state municipal leagues across the country to strengthen local leadership, drive innovation, and influence the federal policies that impact local programs and operations, whereas the city of Missouri City is a proud member of the National League of Cities and has benefited from the organization's research, technical expertise, federal advocacy, and opportunities to learn from other local governments. And whereas local government are the bedrock of the American democracy, providing residents with the most accountable, responsive, inclusive, ethical, and transparent government in the world. And now, therefore, I, Mayor Robin Ellicat, on behalf of our City Council and the citizens of Missouri City, do hereby proclaim May 2024 as the National Cities, Towns, and Villages Month in celebration of America's local government and the National League of Cities historic anniversary, signed by me. Congratulations, Jeff. I'm sure you're going to say all of this about National League of Cities because we want to hear it. Keynote speaker.
All right. Well, first of all, I'd like to ask all my colleagues to come down because we represent the city of Missouri City. Come on down. We represent the city of Missouri City. This is the 100-year anniversary of the National League of Cities. And the National League of Cities, which we're a proud member of as the city, is very, very critical and important entity in our country because we're the ones that help influence public policy at the federal level, working with the administration, working with legislators to try to bring certain resources and also to protect us. You know, a lot of the things that we're seeing happening in states all across the country at the national level, the National League of Cities tries to implement things and policies that are going to benefit us and protect us. And so I was happy to work with NLC through our relationship on the Federal Advocacy Committee for Community and Economic Development to help influence legislation for the CARES Act, for the infrastructure bill, for the American Rescue Plan Act, many of those things that have benefited the city of Missouri City, especially as we've gone through the COVID-19 pandemic. So I just want to thank the National League of Cities for acknowledging National Cities, Towns, and Villages Month, as well as allowing us to be on this Wednesday on the press release, the national press release that's going to go out, as well as on their website acknowledging the city of Missouri City as one of their proud members who are supportive of this initiative. Thank you.
Number 5 are public comments. City Secretary, do you have any public comment requests?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, we do. I will call you 3 at a time. If you can stand in the line, please, behind the podium, and state your name and your address for the record, and please get to the 3-minute time limit. Bruce Dombrowski, Ms. Dashel, Amin, Anand, Bruce Dombrowski.
Okay, sorry.
I was going to speak last time, but it was a big show here, so I declined. Here we go again. Emperorship of Missouri City. Official head of city so open-ended. Reimbursed for expenses for undefined official business. Oh my. So many gaps. Compensation, what was it? This charter review is another joke. The fact that council had to defend it and had no involvement with obtaining the Charter Commission recommendations doesn't hold water, and particularly when the city's attorneys were allegedly engaged in representing the interests of council. Are we supposed to be stupid? Also, Also, let me get it all up here. Be reminded the discussion of the proposed charter amendments in a closed meeting may constitute violation of the Opens Meetings Act. Just food for thought. By the way, I was looking at the May 6th special meeting versus regular meeting. Would question why something as important as a charter amendment would be done when most of the public is unavailable versus some of the proclamations have just to fill up a regular meeting. Oh, a tangled web we weave. Thank you.
Ms. Dashell, Zelda Dashell, Lexington Settlement. I'm here on behalf of the entire subdivision. Last Monday, 7:30 a.m., SWAT team showed up, fully loaded, in the backyard of a home, saying, "Come out or we're coming in." So they arrested the gentleman. We'd like to know, what does city councilman do for our subdivision and maybe the organization that you spoke of to as well? Because no one is taking responsibility for calling the seller. It's a rental home. I filed for the police report, haven't got it yet, but we don't know if the resident, he's a tenant, has gone back to the property or what has been done or what will be done. But this was a very dangerous situation, 7:30 in the morning. In the backyard, 6 of them, guns pulled. Children were out going to school that time of morning, etc. And I've been living in the subdivision for 15 years and have never seen something that looked like this at 7:30 in the morning. So someone please tell me, do you have a role in this at all? Because the HOA, we discussed it, and they said, we don't know who calls the owner of the home who lives in Lake Olympia to tell her about SWAT team at her rental property. Okay, does someone get back in touch with the HOA? All right, thank you.
I didn't get the address of the incident.
The incident was 1238 Catskill, Lexington Settlement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I can't pronounce the last name. It's A-M-I-M. Last name is spelled I-S-H-I-Q. You'll please come to the podium. Samichi Rizvi. Amjad Kokar. Please state your name and address for the record and adhere to the 3-minute time limit.
Hello, my name is Ominous Hawk. I'm here today to speak about honoring our military men and women this Memorial Day on this upcoming Monday, May 27th, 2024. I'm here for 25-year-old airman for the United States Air Force, Aaron Bushnell, who died in the most excruciating form of protest to make a statement against the genocide against an innocent people in Gaza. Aaron self-sacrificed himself because he felt the world was watching an active duty white soldier give up his life for the freedom of the oppressed might just wake up his government to the genocide of innocent Palestinians that is being funded by our tax dollars. Our government is responsible for his death and drove him to such despair that he felt that this was the only way to get their attention and wake up the masses. Let's not let his sacrifice be in vain, because he is definitely a hero. He will never be forgotten. Please honor him with a recognition for sacrificing his life to bring out the truth about the war machine and the illegal and unjust funding of the apartheid state of Israel. Please honor his family and his legacy this Memorial Day. Let's not forget his service to his country. He died wanting the truth to be known, fighting for the most oppressed and marginalized. He died for justice to prevail. He died for the humanity of the Palestinian people and all oppressed people here in America and all over the world. And he should be recognized as such, just like you all have recognized so many others in our city. He fought for justice for our Palestinian constituents here in Missouri City. Recognize Aaron Bushnell.
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Samiha Rizvi, and I'm a December 2023 graduate from the University of Texas at Austin and a longtime resident of Fort Bend County and product of Fort Bend ISD schools. In January of 2024, I found myself back at UT Austin, summoned for a student conduct hearing. Alongside 3 fellow students, I, a recent graduate of the university and School of Social Work, faced investigation for our advocacy on behalf of Palestine. The incident dates back to December 2023, when we endeavored to deliver letters to the Dean of Social Work. Our demand was clear: reinstate 2 teaching assistants who had been unjustly removed from their positions. Their only crime, providing essential mental health resources to Palestinian, Arab, and Muslim students. Additionally, we urge our university to divest from weapon manufacturers complicit in the ongoing genocide against Palestinians. Regrettably, the response from the university administration was not one of understanding or support. Instead, our actions were erroneously labeled as anti-Semitic in police reports by the dean. This mischaracterization not only undermines the legitimacy of our cause, but also perpetuates harmful stereotypes and detracts from the real issue at hand, the murder of Palestinians at the hands of our tax dollars. Many of my friends were unjustly arrested during the protest on May 24th and 29th. These were students peacefully exercising their constitutional rights, yet they were met with unwarranted violence from law enforcement. The scenes were distressing, as the very authorities meant to protect citizens instead acted oppressively. It's disheartening to see students exercising their First Amendment rights face harsh repercussions like arrest, degree withholding, suspensions, university bans, and suspension of student organizations fighting for Palestinian liberation, like the Palestine Solidarity Committee at my alma mater. These actions aim to suppress dissent against both our universities and our government's complicity in the genocide against Palestinians. Despite these attempts to censor and oppress us by bad faith politicians and cowardly university administration, we won't cease advocating for a free Palestine. To witness those in power remain inactive, while students lacking the same privileges and authority take every possible action, should serve as a stark message to all of you. As elected officials, it is your duty to dismantle systems of oppression and actively stand in solidarity with marginalized and oppressed communities. True progress can only be achieved through collective action and mutual support. Let us please strive for a world where everyone can thrive, where we see a free Palestine. As you all shared during the recognition of cities, towns, and months, local governments are at the heart of creating change. At the very least, you all should consider and not pass a ceasefire resolution and show the world where you stand, on the side of humanity. Thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't get that address. Either you say the full address or have them say the full address.
Okay. I will state the address for the last speaker, 66 Big Trail in Missouri City.
My name is Amjid Koker. My address has already been said. Honorable Mayor and Council members, I'm happy to see all of you again. I thank you first for being leadership that wishes to hear the voices and the concerns of your constituents. As you know, I come before you again representing the 1,000 signers of the Missouri City Gaza ceasefire petition, calling for universal human rights. And in a way, I think I also come before you partly representing the 2/3 of Americans that now support a ceasefire. In front of you by now, you've probably received a picture of my beautiful baby girl, Summer. A few nights ago, she woke up with a stomach bug. She cried after throwing up, confused about what was going on. She was in her mother's lap when she signaled that she wanted her father to hold her. As I held her, she felt comfort. Her cries softened into a gentle baby snores, and she fell asleep, thankfully for the night. These are the sweet memories we treasure with our children. Summer, like all children, was born with the inherent right to be comforted by her parents. My child, just like all children everywhere, deserve love, care, nurturing. Imagine the newborn, fragile, and bewildered babies that have lost their parents due to hostilities in Israel and Gaza. Those babies are also looking for the warmth and security of their parents' embrace. Whether born into privilege or facing adversity, every child, regardless of race, ethnicity, or religion, deserves to feel the reassuring presence of their parents, to be held close, soothed and loved. It's far away, but it matters to our citizens here in Missouri City. We have a diverse community where universal human rights binds us all together. I request the City Council stand behind universal human rights and pass our Gaza ceasefire resolution calling for a permanent end to hostilities and a return of all hostages and supporting the right of children everywhere.
Thank you very much. I will say for the record that Mr. Amjad Mr. Kakar's address is 66 Big Trail, Missouri City, Texas.
Okay.
Lujan Alejandro, Nasheen Hashami, Amina Ishaq. If you can please state your name and address for the record and adhere to the 3-minute time limit, please. Thank you. Mr. Kakar, if you could please step away from the podium, please.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Just wanted to help her.
Thank you.
Hello, Mayor and Council members. My name is Lujain El-Jarjawi, and I'm 14 years old. This is my second time being here, but my first time speaking. When you think about family, you think about the memories that are yet to be created, all the outing and gatherings, all the opportunities for fun and holidays. For example, Thanksgiving. I'm sure this holiday must be very happy time for you and your family members. A time where you get together and bond, get the opportunity to bond and stay together, stay closer together. However, this is not the case for me and my family. Currently, the size of my Thanksgiving table has been shrinking day by day. My cousins, my friends, my aunt, my uncles in Gaza has been displaced, injured, and killed. I had a dream of us all being together, with me graduating, getting married, having my first child. But I don't think there's a chance because they're all injured and displaced and killed. Thousands of both in Missouri City are heartbroken and devastated. We wonder why our leaders will not stand up to defend human rights of Christians and Muslims in Gaza. Is it because we look different? Is it because we sound different? Is it because some of us have different religion? All of the young people in Missouri City want to know why. Thank you for listening and your service.
Thank you.
Nasheen Hashmi, Amina. If you can please step to the podium, please. Amina Ishaq, Ishaq. Noreen Muhammad. If you can see, please step to the podium, please. Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
My name is Nausheen. Good evening, city members. First of all, thank you so very much for your time. As we all know, last week was National Police Week. I want to appreciate all the public work they are doing, community services. We are really thankful for that department. Also, this week is National Public Works Week. They all are doing commendable job to making sure that our communities are getting better and better every day. All of the departments are doing their best in their capability to make this country better and better. Being a responsible citizen of U.S. and a responsible citizen of this world, this is our responsibility to bring peace and prosperity in this country and in this world. As all other departments are doing their jobs, being an individual and a responsible citizen of U.S., it's my responsibility to work for the betterment, for the peace and prosperity and rest of the world too. Being a superpower, we have larger responsibility on our shoulders to bring peace in the world. We should not stand behind any conflict where we are oppressing anyone. For your reference, I would like to add here, 15,000 kids have been killed in Gaza. 4.5% population have been killed. 79,000 people are injured. 50,000 pregnant women, they don't have place to give birth to their kids. 7 million people are starving, and it's forced starving. It's not ethical, moral. It's against humanity. We all stand for humanity. And I believe this city council has power to play an important role to help starving people, 7 million people. On the other hand, we are exploring life on other planets where on this planet humanity is suffering. This is our utmost responsibility to stand for humanity for the sake and the betterment of our own country. We should play a positive role to bring peace in Middle East, especially people of Gaza. They need our support. And I do expect from my city to stand behind humanity. Thank you so very much.
Good evening. A long time ago, someone fought hard against all odds for freedom and equality so that all of you could sit up there and so that all of us could freely speak as constituents. So now we too will fight hard against all odds for a better world for our children, for all our children. Because when it comes to kids, we shouldn't see color, class, faith, or geographical lines. What we should be seeing right now is Palestinian toddlers who should be learning how to walk are instead having their limbs blown off. What we should be seeing is babies who should be nourished are instead withering away from starvation. Kids who should be playing hide and seek are seeking their parents' dead bodies in the rubble. Youth who should be attending graduations, just like we are instead attending funerals. Missouri City is the show me city, right? So as a city council, I know that you can't engage in international diplomacy or negotiation efforts or affect policy changes on that level. But let me show you what you can do. Our tax dollars are killing one child every 10 minutes. All we're asking of you is individually, you can advocate for peace by voicing the concerns of our community, fostering dialogue, and encouraging our national reps to pursue diplomatic solutions. That's doable. You can individually support humanitarian efforts and raise public awareness about the impact of this international conflict on a local and global scale. That's doable. And finally, together, you can pass the People's Ceasefire Resolution or make a public statement in support of an immediate and lasting ceasefire. This you can do. This is the very least we can all do. Thank you. My name is Noreen. Thank you so much.
Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Brian Rizzo, and I live at 7626 Paradise River Drive. I am here to urge you to please reconsider your previous votes and to vote against the proposed rezoning amendments for the Knights Court Office Park 2 at 7070 Knights Court. The obvious concerns are increased traffic on Knights Court, increased noise pollution, increased light pollution, and drainage concerns. When looking at the proposed plan, there are 2 retention ponds which back up against the levee. What will that do to the structural integrity of that levee? Personally, my biggest concern is the obvious increase in traffic on Knights Court and the adjacent roads. Knights Court is a road which your city engineer already labeled a failed roadway during a previous rezoning proposal for apartments. Adding another office park is not going to improve this. And furthermore, when considering this proposal or similar proposals, the main focus is on Knights Court, but nothing gets mentioned about the residential streets, which also experience traffic and congestion. The proposed business park will be located right next to Hidden Bow Lane, the entrance of Stonebrook, and 0.2 of a mile from Thompson Ferry Road, which turns into Paradise River Drive, the entrance to Creekstone Village. In the morning and afternoon, we already must deal with increased traffic due to people looking to avoid Oilfield, Thompson Ferry, or Highway 6 when trying to get to Elkins High School or Sonal Bouchard Elementary. Based on the agenda packets, you have not received one letter of support for this project. You have previously received 4 letters protesting the proposed zoning amendment, and I have recently spoke to the local residents whose houses back up to the proposed development and received a further 10 letters of protest, which I handed in. Mr. Mayor and council members, the residents have spoken, and we do not want this development in our backyards. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, that concludes public comments.
Okay. Councilmember Brown Marshall.
Thank you so much, Mayor. I was wanting to ask if City Manager Jones and maybe our attorney, Ayamu, if they could kind of comment, please, on the policy that was recently put into place with regards to several of the requests for peace.
Certainly. The City Council recently passed a resolution that authorizes staff to direct residents and different inquiries to the appropriate federal officials that might be able to provide assistance as it relates to those inquiries. So that resolution did pass, I think, about a month ago or so. And it is my understanding that the city will provide a response as well to comments that have been provided.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Councilmember Boney.
Yes, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to move item 9B and 9C after public comments.
Okay, there's been a motion by Councilmember Boney. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Riley. Guys, it's not working.
Mr. Mayor, if you're okay, if I can do a roll call vote. Mayor?
All right, so I see Councilmember Boney, motion and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Clauser. Councilmember Riley, right? Okay. Can you add one more time? Okay. All right, we'll just go ahead and vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Okay, thank you. And that was item 9B.
9B and 9C.
9C. Okay, item 9B.
An ordinance of the City of Missouri City, Texas, authorizing the issuance of City of Missouri City, Texas General Obligation Improvement Bonds, Series 2024, in one or more series or subseries, as may be further designated, in the aggregate principal amount not to exceed $20,900,000 for the construction of public works, levying a tax and payment thereof, authorizing each of the mayor, the city manager, and the chief financial officer to approve the amounts, interest rates, prices, and terms thereof, and certain other matters relating thereto, providing for the payment thereof, making other provisions regarding such bonds, including authorizing the preparation and distribution of one or more preliminary official statements, one or more official statements, and matters incident thereto, authorizing the execution and delivery of one or more purchase agreements, authorizing the execution and delivery of a paying agent registrar agreement, authorizing and confirming the engagement of certain professionals in connection with the issuance of the bonds, finding and determining that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law and enacting other provisions relating thereto.
Thank you. We have a presentation by Monique, our Chief Financial Officer. Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. So, good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm going to be presenting the projects for the proposed debt issuance for fiscal year 2024.
B, right? It's 9B. 9B. Okay, go ahead.
Do you have the presentation? Okay, so I will be presenting the projects for the proposed debt for the issuance for fiscal year 2024 upon approval of the general obligation bond series. For the drainage, we have La Quinta Drainage, Pine Meadow, and Oakwood Drainage for $2.9 million. For streets, we have Lexington Boulevard, Watts Plantation, the design for Kingsbrook Lane, Robinson Road, Bradford Drive, and the reconstruction for East Hampton Road closure. The total for streets is $6.8 million. For parks, we have Bicentennial Park, La Quinta Golf Course renovations, and the Stamo Park. Totals for parks is $5.7 million. And facilities, we have ADA compliance, facilities remodel citywide, and the golf course maintenance facility, totaling $5.5 million, giving us the total of the $20.9 million.
Okay. All right, thank you. How come we don't have this for our public to see? Presentation. I like to table this item because I think we talk about transparency so much, but we don't have nothing for the public to see on this item. Because I don't think it's fair, you're talking about an amount which is not to exceed more than $20 million. Councilmember Brown Marshall.
Thank you, Mayor. If that was your motion to table the matter.
I don't think I can put a motion. I was just referring comments to the city manager and to my colleagues saying, I'm not ready to vote on this item without having properly displayed on the screen for our citizens who are at home to watch this, so this way we can talk about it, unless you can tell me that this is a dying emergency that it needs to be approved tonight. That was a question to you.
Yes, it is.
It is? Well, then I'm going to abstain from that vote because I'm not going to vote for something that I can't see or the public can't see. All right.
Okay, so just going back to my question, can you tell me the streets one more time and just a little slower?
For streets, we have Lexington Boulevard.
Okay.
Watts Plantation.
Yeah, but I want the public to see it.
We have the design portion for Kingsbrook Lane, Robinson Road, and Bradford Drive and Fair Green Drive Street.
Okay. And then my second question in regards to the Lexington, what exactly will we be doing here on Lexington Boulevard, and exactly how much money are we anticipating on spending? Is this to take care of the flooding in that area?
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is our share of construction for the Fort Bend County Mobility Project. This council has already voted on an interlocal agreement with Fort Bend County for constructing a portion of the Lexington Boulevard at the entrance to Brightwater all the way to 1092. We issue the depth when it's necessary. We're completing design. We're going to be going into construction. So this is a phased issuance of depth to facilitate construction of our project per the interlocal agreement which the council has already approved.
Okay, I think I understood you. You said that the design phase is complete.
Almost complete, correct.
Almost complete. And so the portion of the funding that you're asking for on tonight is to move us
towards construction.
Towards construction.
Correct.
And is there any kind of way you could email us these construction?
We can. We certainly have an interlocal agreement that the council has approved. We can email that.
That would be
That
great.
can show the total project cost and the city share of cost for this project. We can certainly do that, council member.
Okay, I thank you.
Thank you.
Recognizing Councilmember Riley.
Thank you. I have a question, E. Joyce. Is there any way, because there's a motion on the floor to move this item up, is there any way that motion can be amended, or what can be done that we can move this particular agenda item back in its prospective place to give staff an opportunity to put up the presentation? Because I'm not prepared to vote on $20 million without the public as well as council seeing all the line-by-line details. It's not fair to the public, as Mayor stated, and it leaves us at a disadvantage. So is there any way that this item can be put back in its prospective place where give staff an opportunity to gather their presentation?
So there is a presentation that is publicly available, so the public does have access to that presentation. To answer your first question, if the council would like to postpone the item until after item 9A or something like that, you all can certainly, someone can make a motion and you can have a second, and then, certainly the item can be postponed until after another item at this point, if that is the desire of the body.
So what happens to the motion that's on the floor?
So right now there's
no motion. I didn't put a motion.
Well, I made the motion, Mayor.
Oh, you made a motion. Okay.
Okay. Was that a motion? And I apologize. I think I missed that
Can
one.
we finish with Councilmember Riley so this way I can go to next queue is Councilmember Boni?
Okay.
If you answer.
Does this have to, do we have to finish voting on this one that's already in the queue?
At this point, if there's already, and I didn't realize there was already a motion, there's already a motion on the floor. So the maker of the motion could withdraw the motion to allow a motion to postpone until a time certain. That's a possibility for you all, but it depends on the maker of the motion.
The motion belongs to the body now.
Well, there's a person who's made the motion, and there's a second to the motion. So if the person doesn't withdraw the motion, then yes, the body could vote it up or down, but the maker could also withdraw it to allow a motion to postpone.
It would be to table the item if the maker decided to, because the motion was not stated. So the maker could table what would be considered to be tabling the item and bring it back later.
Instead of any more discussion, let's go to the person, Councilmember Boni, who put the motion.
Yeah, so my motion was for approval, Mayor, and here's why. And while I totally understand not having this presentation showing here in this meeting, this actually has been since Thursday published online through our packet. So the information that you're seeking to make a decision, us as decision makers, has already been open to the public and available for everyone to review. Now, I do believe that if staff is available to put page 3 of the packet on the screen for everybody to see, but it's all listed here. And I think maybe for future references, city manager, that we just need to make sure that we are allowing the public, I guess, to see everything that we have access to, assuming that everybody doesn't go online and look at our agenda packets. But everything that Ms. Monique talked about is in our packet. So we have all of the information that we need to make a qualified decision, just like we have in the past. And there's nothing nefarious, nothing hidden. This is a standard procedure. So my motion is for approval, as we've always done in the past, of these bond obligation, these general obligation bonds, so that we can move forward with these projects that we stated through approval from the citizens of Missouri City, that they felt that these were important projects for us to get done. There's nothing new on these projects. All these projects have been talked about and voted on for several years now. So my motion is for approval.
Okay, thank you. Recognizing Councilmember Morelos.
Yeah, I think Councilmember Boni said everything that I was to say. I don't disagree of not having it on display, and hopefully the staff can get it up. If not, put our iPads up there. But this goes even back to the bond committee, to public input, to where we are today. And it's been public, and it's time to vote to make progress in the city. That's my comment.
All right, thank you. City Manager, I signed up to speak. While I agree with my colleagues, I don't think it's fair to the public that criticizes us come up here on public comments and talk about something that's not posted, and merely the fact that this is not the first incident that took place. There's been several items in the past we've recognized. I know one of them was Councilmember Maroulis, and others have talked about the fact that these presentations needs to be on here. I got it. We have it. The 7 of us have it on the agenda packet. But especially when you talk about bond, we went to the citizens. Citizens voted for it. And people don't remember these things quite often until we share it again to where these items are, where these 29 million is being subdivided and going to. So I think it's an advantage for City Council to share where this allocation is going and to show the public where this is being transferred to. It's their dollar that they presented, that they approved it, and it came before us. We had a bond committee in place, which was a council appointed, and that bond committee went and spoke, or had several meetings in order to get these items passed on. And I'm highly disappointed in the fact that no one has checked to see that if this item was here as on this agenda packet, it needs to be up here. Anytime we're doing with anything that has to do with money, transparency, it doesn't matter how many times we've seen it. And I believe the fact that every single person here is going to do the right thing, but that's not the optics. I'm looking at the optics, which is the residents of Missouri City, that if we can tell them that this amount is going, the fact that we can't even show them on the screen. And that's what I'm upset about, which I will still abstain from this vote, just to make the point that moving forward, that we needed to have these presentations up here.
It's up there now, man.
Understood.
Mayor?
I see it.
Oh, okay.
So you want to go over it one more time so the public can hear it, please?
Okay. So again, these are the projects that we will be using as the proposed debt issuance for Series 2024. That'll be funded under the General Obligation Bond Series upon approval. And as you can see, under drainage, we have $2.9 million, which includes the La Quinta Drainage, Pine Meadow, and Oakwick drainage improvements. Under streets, again, we have Lexington Boulevard, Watts Plantation, the design for Kingsbrook Lane, Robinson Road, and Bradford Drive, and Fair Green Drive Street, and East Hampton Road closure reconstruction for $6.8 million. For parks, we have Bicentennial Park, La Quinta Golf Course, and Staymore Park for $5.7 million. Under facilities, we have ADA compliance, facilities remodel department citywide, and golf course maintenance facility for $5.5 million, giving us a total debt issue of $20.9 million upon approval. So we're here tonight for the parameter ordinance that we're presenting to council. And upon approval, the closing and delivery of funds are estimated to happen within June of 2024.
Okay. So, go back to City Manager. How did we get this up here now? Like, where did we get it from?
The packet.
So who pulled it up?
IT was able to pull up the packet from the city's website and pull up the presentation from there.
Okay, does anyone go through these to see that if these items are, whoever's presenting or presentations are part of these, so when we're in a public forum like this, that we have this? So this way that we can say to our residents, yes, I get it, the fact that it's posted. Some are very clever to go into our website and find it. But the reason we're having these meetings is because we're, not only we're voting on it, but we're letting the public know what we're voting on, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
All right. There's been a motion by Councilmember Boney, seconded by Councilmember Maroulis. Seeing no one else on the queue, let's go ahead and vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Item 9C.
An ordinance of the City of Missouri City, Texas, authorizing the issuance and sale of City of Missouri City, Texas combination tax and revenue certificates of obligation, Series 2024, in the aggregate principal amount not to exceed $7.5 million, authorizing each of the mayor, the city manager, and the financial services director to approve the amounts, interest rates, prices, and terms thereof, and certain other matters relating thereto. Levying a tax and payment thereof, making other provisions regarding such certificates of obligation, including authorizing the preparation and distribution of one or more preliminary official statements, one or more official statements, and matters incident thereto. Awarding the sale of the certificates, authorizing the execution and delivery of one or more purchase agreements, authorizing the execution and delivery of a paying agent registrar agreement, authorizing and confirming the engagement of certain professionals in connection with the issuance of the certificates of obligation, finding and determining that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law, and enacting other provisions relating thereto. And this item is time sensitive.
Okay. Monique, our CFO.
Yes, as they're pulling up, so I am going to present the projects that we are proposing to be issued under the Certificate of Obligation Series, utility projects for 2024. So the projects include the Regional Surface Water Treatment Plant, reservoir cleaning, the design for the Regional Surface Water Treatment Plant transmission line at Mustang Bayou Service Area, the design for the 3,000 GPM well at South Sienna, the Regional Surface Water Treatment Plant, the 1.5 MGD ground storage tank, the design and construction, and the Regional Surface Water Treatment Plant design and construction with the total debt issuance, the projects total to $7.5 million. So again, we're doing our parameter ordinance tonight, presenting that to council, and estimated closing and delivery of these funds is June 2024 as well.
Thank you. Recognizing Councilmember Brown Marshall.
Thank you so much. My question is probably for Shashi. Thank you, Shashi. Going back to the previous report that we spoke about in regards to our capacity and water and different things like that, in terms of us issuing these certificates of obligation, how does that impact what you shared with us earlier?
Great question. These are all projects related to our surface water plant expansion. This is the GRP fees, or the groundwater reduction fees. So this is the COs related to our groundwater reduction program. So these funds can specifically use for those purposes, and that's why you see the transmission line, the reservoirs, and those kind of things. These funds are not directly applicable to the Mustang Bayou service area, except that we did talk about that in that presentation, that we're building a transmission line to convert Mustang Bayou to receive surface water. So that's one of the projects that's in this debt issuance, which is very critical for our future growth needs.
I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. There's been a motion by Councilmember Boney, seconded by Councilmember Brown Marshall. Seeing no one else on the queue, let's go ahead and vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you. Item number 6, our staff report 6A, to receive a presentation on the economic forecast and city sales and tax projection. We have a presentation by Bertha Alexander, Chief Budget and Performance Officer. Bertha.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening.
We have with us John Hawkins from TXP, who will provide us with an economic and sales tax projection for the city of Missouri City. We use this information in our budget process as well as our internal forecasting model. I'll now turn it over to John.
Thank you.
Hey, good to see everybody. And again, let me say, first of all, thanks again for having me. I appreciate it. And let me see if I can actually run the clicker here. I've got a long presentation. I'm going to truncate it a little bit. I don't think you guys need to see pages and pages of charts. But what I would really encourage you to do as we were going through it, think about questions, think about issues you want to talk about. As Bertha said, this is kind of the kickoff to your budgeting process. And so part of my job is to give you kind of the external context of what's going on as you are thinking through how you're going to navigate what's going to happen in the next fiscal year and fiscal years beyond that. So what's finally happening, let me be very clear. I'm the guy who's predicted about 8 out of the last 2 recessions. So I've been wrong more than once on this. I keep waiting for the economy to slow down. On a national level, it is finally happening. We're beginning to see the layoffs, certainly in a number of different industries, frankly, particularly in the tech sector right now. Certainly Mr. Musk is a pretty sort of poster child for that, but it's happening in a lot of different places. Now, some of that, frankly, is because people overhired during the pandemic, and they're doing a little bit of right-sizing right now. But for a lot of technology companies, a lot of it has to do with their business model. It's fundamentally advertising-driven, and some of that advertising is drying up. So you're seeing a little bit of a contraction in the tech sector. You're also beginning to see people beginning to struggle a little bit on the consumer side. High interest rates certainly are having an effect. Inflation is improving some, but it's still relatively elevated compared to at least where the Federal Reserve Bank wants it to be. There has been some improvement on the food and gas side. And when people talk about inflation, you know what they're really talking about? What's the price of gas and how much do groceries cost me? That's what they're really paying attention to. Part of what is keeping inflation elevated actually is housing, because there's a shortage nationwide of housing supply out there. So inflation has cooled off some. It's still a little higher. Fed wants it to be. And as a result, you still have very, very high interest rates. You know, finance guys talk about basis points. When you see 525, that means 5.25 percentage points increase. And guess what? Nothing pencils out at 8%. I keep seeing all these weird deal structures out there. And again, it's all trying to navigate around very, very high interest rates, and it fundamentally doesn't work very well. That's beginning to have an impact on the banking sector. And so the bankers are nervous. They're concerned about kind of how things are going. So one of the things they've done is they've tightened underwriting standards. That makes it even harder to get project finance. You put that in combination with very high interest rates, not a lot of deals being done. The translation on that, certainly for a community like this, is new non-residential may be stalled for a while. New residential may be stalled for a while because project finance right now is very, very difficult. I'm going to skip through a bunch of these charts because I think they're too long, but this is one I wanted to stop on. This is inflation. So you hear about inflation, and you always hear about it discussed seasonally adjusted at annual rates. Well, there's a lot of statistical mumbo jumbo around that, monkeying around with it. I like the simple approach, which is what was it last year this month? What is it this year? What's been the 12-month change? And what you see actually for almost a year is it's pretty stable in the sort of 3 to 3.5 range. Now, I'm old enough to remember Schoolhouse Rock. How many people here remember Schoolhouse Rock? All right, a couple people, right? So you remember the song 3 is a magic number, right? Well, from my point of view, I could live with 3 to 3.5% inflation because I think the Fed right now trying to get down to their 2% target is going to cause more pain than they need to. And quite frankly, last time we checked, we're right about $34 trillion in debt as a nation. A little inflation actually reduces what economists call the real value of that debt because you're paying with a little bit of inflation-adjusted dollars. And I'm not talking about anything crazy. I'm just saying, from my point of view, this would be stable enough to justify cutting interest rates a little bit. For better or worse, I don't get to make that decision. So we're going to wait and see what happens from our friends at the Federal Reserve Bank. So let me go on through these. We'll skip through all these. You can go if anybody has questions about them. One of the things we're really seeing here in the Houston area is that job growth is really slowing down. That first statement up there, creating 1,100 jobs in March, 3 times in the last 30 years has there only been weaker job growth than that, and 2 of those were during recessions. So Houston is feeling the struggle that's going on. Houston area writ large is feeling the struggle that the nation is feeling. And certainly, again, we talked about it just a little bit ago, residential housing has flattened out some. On the non-residential side, it's kind of a mixed bag. The office market right now is terrible. To use the technical term, it's awful. Austin right now has the highest office vacancy rate in the country. And if you would drive through Austin today, you'd still see a lot of building cranes. Well, all that stuff got financed 2 or 3 years ago. So people are pot committed. They got to finish the projects. There's going to be a lot more office product on. And unfortunately, with a lot of the legacy stuff, people go, oh, great, can't we convert it to housing? Well, it's not that easy. And oftentimes, financially doesn't work. So there's going to be a surplus of office product for a while. Houston area is feeling that as well. The industrial side still seems pretty good. Vacancy rate is relatively low. It's increased a little bit. And retail vacancy rates remain relatively low. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, but the Houston area is beginning to feel a little bit of the slowdown. And we'll skip through all of these. Actually, here's the trend in job growth. Now, this is percentage change, again, year over year. Job growth is still positive, but look at how the trend is going down. And again, this is the whole metropolitan area. So this is the region we're talking about. And again, some stuff here. And I'm going to skip through all these. And here is household job growth in Missouri City. Now, again, this is the survey where they call you at home. And they say, Mr. Mayor, do you have a job? And presumably you say yes. And they say, thank you very much. And they count you as employed. This is different than what's called the non-ag wage and salary survey, where they call employers in different sectors of the economy and say, how many folks do you have working for you? This one is done actually at the city level for all cities over 25,000 people in Texas. So you obviously are all part of it. The point here, again, is the trend. This says nothing about where does someone work. So if they get up in the morning and drive into Houston, that's fine. This is where they live. And this is the survey upon which the unemployment rate is also calculated. Again, the trend is job growth is slowing down. Having said that, it's not terrible by any stretch of the imagination. It just doesn't look so good in comparison to more than 5% 2 years ago. So again, beginning to slow down. There's the unemployment rate, very stable, actually. Skip through some of these. Home prices have flattened out. And the numbers of homes available, home listings have slowed down quite a bit.
Okay.
And the months of availability for housing, this is an interesting data. During the pandemic, there was no housing because everybody and their poodle decided to move to Texas because it was such a good deal, right? And so what the guys at A&M who produced this data set say is that a balanced market is 6 months worth of housing. So we're a long way from that. It's still very much a seller's market, but the trend is bouncing off that real shortage of supply back during the pandemic and beginning to rise a little bit. And so again, to talk about sales tax forecasting, this is how I go about it. Traditionally, we looked at the relationship between job growth and household formation and tax gain and loss for the folks here in Missouri City. You know, immediately in the wake of COVID, that all kind of got blown up, in part because the government pumped in, depending on how you calculate it, between $5 and $7 trillion into a $21 trillion economy. For sake of argument, call that 30% bounce. That's the equivalent of 10 years worth of 3% growth. Got shoved into the economy and kind of blew things up, caused inflation to surge. Well, only in the role as municipal, shall we say, stewards here, is inflation good for sales tax, because inflation drives prices up and sales tax is assessed on prices. So for a while, higher inflation was actually driving sales tax increases, at least in part. But one of the things that's happening here is that you have kind of the law of large numbers going on. It's hard to stack double-digit growth year after year after year after year. You guys are beginning to experience that. So again, there are some things going on. What I've done is really kind of created a synthetic approach where in the short run, I do really look at changes in inflation. I think that's going to drive sales tax revenue in the near term. And then I think once we get beyond what I think is going to be the slowdown, I think job growth will resume, and I think that will drive your patterns over kind of the medium and longer term. And so here is recent change. I did this again, 12-month change. This is calendar year, by the way, not fiscal year. Looking at change, I estimated the June number because we don't quite have that yet for June of 24, so I could get a second quarter number. Again, it's designed to show you a trend. And of course, you had extraordinary growth a couple years ago. 15% growth is extraordinary, and it's just beginning to slow on down. So this is Missouri City, the city of Missouri City right here. This is how you were looking for the most recent month. Actually, I'm sorry, it's calendar year to date versus some peer cities. So you're actually doing relatively well. Sugar Land is a little bit above you all, but most of the others are actually either flat or negative. And then all cities on the right, that's all Texas municipalities, all sort of rolled together. That's year-to-date through the May numbers. So you get 5 months worth of data on that. So again, the historic relationship, I plugged the 2020 job figure because it went like this. It went boom, and then it bounced right back up. So I just plugged it. And again, you can see that historic relationship there. So the bottom line really is a slowdown, I think, baseline on sales tax growth for both fiscal 24 and fiscal 25. I think I'm estimating that you will then sort of move back into kind of, if you call it the modern schoolhouse rock or John Rock or whatever, it's around 6%, 6 to 7% growth, I think is a pretty healthy trend. And I think that's more likely to be what you're going to experience as we go further out. And then I put a couple of different scenarios up there. You can read that. You know, a lot of it has to do with how quickly we respond if and when the Fed cuts rates, how quickly the Fed feels comfortable cutting rates, what are the implications of some of our conflicts overseas, not only, as we heard about earlier, obviously in the Middle East, but also in Ukraine as well. How does that affect supply chains and other things? And then one of the fundamentals to pay attention to, and we are fortunate here in Texas, is labor force. We are facing a labor force crisis in the United States. We have been fortunate that we have been a place where people in the recent past in particular have really wanted to move to. We've had a lot of in-migration coming to Texas in general, and certainly to our major urban areas, obviously including Houston. I'm not certain that's going to continue. I'm not forecasting that it won't, but I'm not certain it's going to continue. We don't have enough people. We don't have the raw material for economic growth, and that's a problem. So with that, conclusions. That's the detail, I'm sorry. Conclusions, inflation really isn't elevating sales tax revenue anymore. Wage growth slowed down a little bit. The overall message here is things have slowed. And I mentioned this before about labor force. I'll mention it again. And then one of the things that is always a consideration for a community like Missouri City is, are you growing the local job base? Are you attracting companies that want to move here? Are you attracting people who want to move here? And can you hang on to your retail tax base? And so are you, in fact, building retail capacity inside the city limits? Because when folks jump in their car and go shopping, they don't care what city they're in. So I guess if I can, I see you're well aware of that. So anyway, slower is the message from me. Still positive, but slower. Questions?
All right, thank you. Recognizing Councilmember Brown Marshall.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. John, thank you so much for this report. You're probably one of the most liveliest economists I've ever encountered, so I really do appreciate it. Okay, and the best dressed. But just teasing you. In terms of labor force shortages, are you seeing that across the board, including inside of, say, your at your municipality levels as well?
Yeah, all over. And so I have a chart in here that's done at the national level. It's in your packet that shows labor force participation is still not back to where it was pre-COVID. And there's lots of reasons for that. One of them, which we aren't talking about very much, is childcare. Childcare in the United States is broken right now, and particularly for folks on the lower end of the spectrum. So it's this awful situation where the child care provider not only can't make child care available at an attractive price, they also can't find workers themselves. So I'm actually working on that in a couple of different communities trying to find solutions. That's one issue. Our immigration policy certainly is something that we're going to have to think about. Most of Europe right now, for example, has guest worker programs. We don't have those in the United States, or at least not as thoroughly as we might, so that's an issue. Lots of people, for a variety of reasons, chose to retire early with the great stock market boom during the pandemic. And then nationally, and this is morbid to say, about 600,000 of us of working age passed away in the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
Nationally, again. So you put it's no one thing. It's death by a bunch of cuts. Sure. And at the end of the day, we don't have enough people to work.
Okay.
At this stage of the game.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for that information. The only thing that I think kind of shocked me just a little bit was to see that we had 15% significant growth in sales tax. And I know during our last budget phase, we talked about when were we ever going to stop being so conservative. But now in looking at your reports, if I read it the correct way, it looks like you're telling us that it is starting to taper down.
Yes, it is.
And we do need to continue to maintain a conservative approach.
Absolutely. And the thing that happens most, I think, prudent for most public sector bodies is when things are skyrocketing, go slow, so you have a little something in the tank for when things go the other way, and you can kind of level things out.
All right.
And I imagine y'all are doing that.
Again, thank you so much for the report. Very, very good.
You're welcome.
Recognizing Mayor Pro Tem Clauser.
Yes. So when I could hear your voice as I was reading over this weekend, I really could.
That worries me, Councilmember.
In a good way. I always enjoy your presentation. So I wanted to ask about the tourism spending.
Yeah.
And because I know our Director of Public Works talked about leaning into this budget for the water plant project. What exactly contributes to the tourism tourism spending or the allocations that make this up, and how do we continue to increase that for the city?
So the biggest that's data that's actually created for the state of Texas. The governor's office contracts with a group out of the Northwest called Dean Runyon and Associates, and they develop those numbers. But the secret for any municipality on tourism is heads and beds at the end of the day. Day trips are swell in terms of kind of expanding brand identity, but people spend money when they spend the night in your community. And so what that really means is you have to have enough kind of critical mass on the leisure side that folks say, there's so much to do, I need to spend the night. And so I'm from Abraham Lincoln's hometown, where I grew up, and it's in the middle of a cornfield in central Illinois, and we've never quite gotten that. So the Winnebagos roll in, and they see the Lincoln Museum, and then they roll right back out. And we don't do a very good job of getting people to spend the night. So as a community, I'll be honest with you, I'm not familiar with your tourist attractions, but as a community, that's the path for you all, is to find reasons to get people to spend the night and to make sure you have the lodging product that meets their needs. The other piece of that equation on the visitor side, of course, is business travel and group meeting travel. And again, same thing. If you are having group meetings here, whether it's the Kiwanis National Association of whatever or the Texas Association of whatever was going on, again, that gets people to spend the night. So that's the major driver on tourism.
Thank you.
Sure.
Recognizing Councilmember Emery.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. As always, it's very enlightening. One of the questions was just talked about was trying to keep people in the city overnight, which assumes that you've got amenities that will in fact attract people that require them to stay overnight to be able to see all of them, which I think plays into one of the things that we're trying to do as a council, and is to make Missouri City a destination point.
Yep.
So I think this helps fortify the efforts that we've been putting into it. I think it helps fortify the need for continuing to add amenities and improve the amenities, again, so that it'll give the emphasis when people come into Missouri City to want to stay.
Let me amplify that just a little bit, Councilmember, because you're right. First of all, tourism is the most local government tax revenue intensive industry there is. Lodging taxes, sales taxes, rental car taxes, alcohol taxes. $1 spent on tourism generates more revenue for a municipality than $1 spent in any other industry. And guess what? It's not being paid by the people who live here, not being paid by your constituents. So it's kind of a double benefit. The other thing it does is, particularly in smaller communities, the demand from tourism can really be the difference between make or break for some of your consumer services. Guy says, all right, I've got a restaurant, I got a really nice lunch trade because I'm close to an employment center, but boy, I'd sure like something in here on Friday and Saturday night. Well, tourists can help fill that void. And so sometimes there's a synergy there where you get enough visitors married with enough demand from locals to make it successful for consumer services that otherwise might not make it.
Second question I had is, we talk about job growth. Do we know by discipline or by the skill levels where we're seeing job growth statewide, but also in Missouri City?
So the challenge, the smaller geographies just don't have as rich a data, and the data that you do have is really dated. So I can tell you all about Missouri City in 2019, which is not very helpful as we stand here in 2024. That data I showed you earlier is a survey done that literally just calls you at home and says, do you have a job? Doesn't ask what your profession is, doesn't ask what industry you work in, yes or no, do you have a job? Having said that, what we know is technical knowledge has never been more valuable than it is today, particularly if you're on the production side of the equation. There are manufacturing jobs all over the state of Texas paying in the high, there's some in the Austin area paying $200,000 a year without a college degree. Yes, you need some technical training, no question about it, but in terms of the pure economics, you're going to do a heck of a lot better getting the technical training and going to work in manufacturing than you are getting an English degree and becoming a teacher. I'm not dissing teachers. I'm not dissing English degrees. I have a degree in philosophy, which was a bad decision a long time ago. But my point is that in the modern world, technical knowledge and continuing to invest in your technical knowledge, specifically around production, and that's true also whether you're working in manufacturing, it's true in the medical field. People who understand how to manage technology, super valuable.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mayor. Good to see everybody. Thank y'all.
you.
We're going to go to item 6B, City Manager's report.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I will be providing an overview of the consent items before you tonight. Starting with item B. This item allows council to accept the quarterly investment report for the period ending 3/31/2024. Item C, this would authorize a construction contract with Tandem Services, LLC, for the Lantern Lane Street project, not to exceed $1.636 million. This was funded through the 2021 bond program. This priority project includes the reconstruction of Lantern Lane from Point Clear Drive to Community Park. Item D, this is the second and final reading for the adoption of an update to the Fort Bend County Interjurisdictional Emergency Management Plan. The first reading passed 7-0. Item E, this item represents a parkland dedication for lofts at Knight Estates by Suba Development 211 LP. This development is located near Watts Road in Park Zone 12. The parkland dedication requirement is being met by a 50% private parkland and 50% cash in lieu for about $242,000. Item F, this item authorized the execution of a contract with Trio Electric, LLC, for mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and related services in an amount not to exceed $70,000. This contract is primarily to address electrical needs in city facilities. Item G, this action would allow the negotiation and execution of a contract with Anchor Construction Management for the development of Troxel Park. This park is located in the Park's Edge neighborhood and consists of about 3.8 acres. Item H, this item would allow the negotiation and execution of a contract for the court collection contract for fines and fees. The current contract expires on 6/30. A request for a proposal was conducted, and the results were evaluated and ranked. That's my overview for the consent agenda items, but I also, for the public, would like to make a comment that we received bid proposals for our Parks Administration facility. And if you recall, upon arriving, due to this restrictive space we have, it was determined at that point, and you agreed to build out that shell that would allow us for future growth. I'm happy to report that all of the proposals came in below budget. So timing on that was excellent. Thank you for supporting that, maximizing that resource and ensuring that we're looking forward to create capacity and space needs for our employees. So with that, I thank you.
Thank you. Let's get some maximizing opportunity. Huh?
Yes.
All right, we go to Councilmember Clauser.
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to pull items F, G, and H. F and G, I would like the presentation, and G, I just want to make sure that there's no change order.
Okay, so that's the motion. Councilmember Boney, is that your second? Okay. Why do we clear it? Okay, so the motion right now is to pull the item F, G, and H. We have a second by Councilmember Boney. Can we vote on this thing?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go ahead and vote.
Member Emery, please vote. The motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you. Item 7F, consideration and possible action authorize the city manager to execute contract with Electric LLC, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to approve 7A through E before we address.
That was the vote that you all just took. This is item.
I thought, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Velma Adams. The item that, one of the items that you put is for Trio Electric. Sorry, thank you. It is for an on-call contract. We currently utilize this vendor for whatever we might need for facilities at the moment.
Okay. Wilma, I have a question. Since this item was pulled, when you say we use this electrical for any facility that we need, what does that mean?
So the city currently owns and runs 20 buildings right now. So if we have electrical service needs in those buildings that our in-staff is either not qualified for or is overworked, then we pull in contractors to complete those services for us. And this is one that they do for the electrical service.
And I would just like to add that this is a budgeted item. It is only before you because it exceeds the $50,000.
$50,000. Okay. So this is, I guess I'm trying to understand because it's over $50,000. This $70,000 is budgeted to hand it out to who?
Any facility that needs an on-call electrical.
So this is
repair.
on-call service.
This is on-call services.
Okay. Do we need to, Joyce, do we need to vote on this item? Or do we need to bring all of them back in?
You would need to vote on this one item.
Okay. Councilmember Brown Marshall.
Just one quick question. Did we put this out to, for bid? I only saw the one proposal.
So this one is on a co-op. They're on a Choice Partners co-op, and it's been solicited through the co-op, right? And so we're tapping into the Choice Partners agreement to utilize them.
Okay. Choice partners. What's a choice partner?
So
Since you said it, I'm just asking.
So Choice Partners is similar to like Buy Board. You've probably heard of Buy Board. You've probably heard of Sourcewell, Omnion, things of that nature. And so they solicit, and then we're able to utilize those agreements through the co-op.
Okay. I understand it a little better now. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so there's been a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Clauser. Looking for a second. Second by Councilmember Morales. Seeing no one else on the queue, let's go ahead and vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Okay, item 7G.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
So this item is for the construction contract of Troxel Park, our newest park in Park Zone 10. It is being built utilizing Park Zone funds, and we are at about 80% through. This is the contract had expired due to some, I guess, rain delays, site delays, in addition to waiting for the Park Zone funds to come in before we started the construction. And so this is the new contract for the same project, utilizing the same bid that was initially solicited. We did previously have 2 change orders for additional site work. The site was reading lower on the grading plans because it had been done 2 years prior. So we initially did have some change orders, but this is the same contract for the same scope of work as the initial solicitation.
Okay. Since you said it, I'm going to ask you, when you said there's been a change order, what were those for?
So the first change order was for additional select grade fill to bring the site up, the grade up of it so that the drainage into the canal would work. The second one was to connect the Park's Edge neighborhood into the trail around the park, because they brought their sidewalk into the edge of their property, and then our trail was 15 feet away, and so we did a change order just to connect that so they can seamlessly come into the park and use the loop.
Sure. One last question for me. So when you say this is the same contract, what does that mean?
So this was initially solicited in 2021, and we did have about a 90-day delay while we waited for those Park Zone funds to come in before the construction started. So this contract is utilizing that initial solicitation and the initial design and scope of the project. So it's I say the same contract in the sense that it's the same response to that solicitation.
And the change orders are different, right? Correct, right? The contract remains as what it is?
Yes.
And then the change orders would come in as an additional sum, right?
Yes. And so the initial contract was 1.24, and the new contract is 1.3 to account for those change orders so that we are not coming back to you again in a month to say, hey, we need to amend this contract now for these change orders. So we pre-accounted for it in this contract.
Sure. When would be the opening or anticipation of opening?
We are currently working through some errors by the contractor that they will be finalizing this week, and we are hopeful to open in late July, early August. Now that we are into summer, we'll have to give the site a few weeks to settle once they do grass and plantings, because it will be so hot. If we have a grand opening right after they plant, it's going to ruin it. So we'll give it a couple weeks after 4th of July. As long as everything's taking, we'll be able to do that grand opening in late July, early August.
Okay. Recognizing Mayor Pro Tem Clauser.
What were the errors?
The errors were in the boardwalk drainage. So when it may have had something to do with that grading plan, and when they developed the neighborhood, all of their drainage came out the park, and we think it kind of washed some things away. So that's why it was grading and reading lower. And so when they came in and they did our boardwalks over the bioswale, we required 12 inches in height so that it wouldn't later down the road damage or ruin the wood of the boardwalks. And when they first poured the concrete and put the boardwalks in, it was reading anywhere from 5 to 8 inches. And so they have pulled those out. They will be tearing that concrete back up, bringing in some more select grade fill to route that up so that the wood of our boardwalk sits higher and won't sit in water should we have any flooding in the future.
And that was the only one?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. There's been a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Clauser, seconded by Councilmember Riley. Seeing no one else on the queue, let's go ahead and vote for this item.
The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Item 7 H. Authorize the city manager to negotiate and execute a contract for the court collection contract for fines and fees.
Yes, I wanted to pull that one just to make sure that my colleagues didn't have any additional questions. If city manager didn't have anything else to add, if you didn't have anything else to add, Brittany.
I think we covered everything. I don't have anything else to add.
Councilmember Brown Marshall in the queue.
Councilmember Brown Marshall.
Thank you so much. Brittany, I did just have one question for you. In this portion of the packet, you titled the score sheet as revised. Could you tell me what the difference was, please?
If I'm recalling correctly, we had the option to do an interview if we wanted to interview any of the top candidates, and that was referenced on the form, and we didn't elect to do that, so we wanted to clean it up and make sure that that wasn't a confusing piece of the form.
So the scores themselves did not change?
Not that I recall.
All right. And do you know if any of the other people that bid, are they here in the audience on tonight?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I think it's just
our current. Just our current. Okay. Thank you so much.
All right, so there's been a motion by Councilmember Boney, seconded by Councilmember Riley. Seeing no one else on the queue, let's go ahead and vote for this item.
The motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you. Item number 8, our public hearing and related actions, 8A, zoning hearing and ordinances. 8A1 is to receive comments for or against a request by Chris Sims Mortgage Partners Incorporated to zone an approximate 12.71 acre tract of land from SD Suburban District to PD Planned Development District to allow for the development of approximately 96 single-family homes, and to the extent such a zoning deviates from the future land use and character map of the comprehensive plan, to provide for an amendment thereof. So I will now go ahead and open the public hearing for item 8A1. City Secretary, do we have any requests to speak on this item?
Mr. Mayor, the applicant, Chris Sims, did sign up to speak. I'm not sure if you want to allow him to speak now, or if you all want to wait for questions. He wasn't sure, but he just signed up just in case.
Okay, I would assume that if we have questions during this item when it's open.
No one from the public.
No one else from the public?
No one else for the public. That
Okay,
would
just
conclude
the,
public hearings.
okay,
Yes,
all
sir.
right. With no further comments, we'll now go ahead and close the public hearings for 8A1. Item 8A2.
An ordinance of the City of Missouri City, Texas, zoning 12.7 acres of land as PD Planned Development District Number 120, describing said 12.7 acres of land, regulating and restricting the development and use of property within such PD Planned Development District, amending the zoning district map of the City of Missouri City, providing for an amendment to the comprehensive plan, providing for repeal, providing for a penalty, providing for severability, and containing other provisions relating to the subject.
All right, thank you. We have Grace.
Yes.
Grace.
Hi.
There you are. Okay.
Good evening. This application is for planned development for single-family homes along Shipman's Cove. The site is located north of Watts Plantation Road and south of Highway 6. It's currently zoned SD, Suburban District. This designation was placed on the property upon its annexation into the city limits. It has not been formally zoned. This is the first application to have this property zoned. The applicant has applied for a planned development for 98 single-family homes. The idea is to bring a lot configuration that is smaller than what we generally see to maximize the 12.7 acre site. The plan presented does not fall in line with any of our established residential zoning districts. And the proposal has requested exceptions to the setbacks, lot width, and lot areas as seen on this slide. The proposal that it most closely aligns with our residential zone are 5 townhomes. Staff conducted a review of this application and presented a negative recommendation to the Planning and Zoning Commission. This was based on the fact that in our city limits, single-family residential is the most common land use form. there are several areas within city limits where we have carved out space for alternative and high-density housing. Planning and Zoning does forward you a positive recommendation tonight based on conformance with some of our comprehensive plan goals. Those goals are Goal 2.3, which encourages multiple housing types, and Goal 2.3A, which calls for housing options to meet the needs of our residents. The application is not in conformance with our future land use plan, which designated this area as a state character, which consists of larger lot development. This designation was given during a time when there was a lack of utilities in this area. Since that time, we have progressed, and the outlook for this area is not quite the same. We have provided you with a snapshot of up-and-coming higher density housing here in the city limits. Some of these are already in progress, such as Territory at Missouri City and Dinerstein, which are both along Highway 6. We also have some approved developments that have not started yet. We have 750 multifamily units within a planned development of Fort Bend Town Center 3, 140 townhome units to the west of this proposed subject site, and also 600 multifamily housing units near Fort Bend Toll Road and Hurricane Lane. That's a total of 1,946 anticipated higher density residential housing units. And we have summarized the public notice provided prior to our planning and zoning meeting and this public hearing. To date, we have not received any support or protest letters. We did receive inquiry from one resident of Shipman's Cove, and we were able to answer all of his questions.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. So if I know the applicant was here, if you can come up and just give us a synopsis of what this is, and then we have some people signed up to speak, so we're going to go to that.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Chris Sims. I'm the applicant, the developer of the proposed project. Our proposed project is for 98 single-family homes on relatively small lots. This is a little bit different product than has been built to date in this area. The density will be about 8 units to the acre. That said, these homes will probably average about $400,000. So they won't be starter homes, and they will not be for rent. They'll range in size from about 1,600 square feet to 2,200 square feet. They'll all be 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2-car attached garages. We intend to maintain strict architectural control over the design of the homes, the material selections, and the color palettes. We'll be exercising that control throughout the development and construction phases through our HOA board. We really want to have an elevated presentation to the community, so we'll have a brick wall along Shipman's Cove and Watts Plantation to enclose our development. And we'll be dedicating a 1.1-acre tract park to the city. And we would propose that our HOA maintains that park. It'll be fully landscaped and amenitized, and the rights-of-way along Shipman's Cove and Watts Plantation will be fully landscaped, irrigated, and maintained. Our intent is to develop a high-quality boutique community with a low-maintenance, lock-and-leave lifestyle for seniors, young families, and busy professionals. In order to achieve this, we intend to have our HOA manage the landscape maintenance of all the homes, the common areas, and our 1-acre park. We have observed that invariably there are a few homeowners who cannot or will not maintain their homes commensurate with their neighbors. And this creates a blight on the entire community, and it affects property values. So our intent is to control this issue through higher than typical HOA fees, but the convenience of having a professional landscape crew handle the weekly lawn maintenance 1 day per week for the entire community should lead to a higher level, uniform, manicured streetscape for our community. It should also make for a more pleasant environment for the homeowners, as they'll only be listening to the lawnmowers, leaf blowers, and weed eaters 1 day per week instead of almost every day, as it is in many communities. As I mentioned, the average sales price for Summer Wind should be around $400,000. So we will be creating a new tax base for the city of around $40 million. We also expect to generate approximately $750,000 in impact fees for the city. So we're excited about bringing a new housing type to Missouri City and Shipmans Cove, which will complement the existing community and bring a new dimension of low-maintenance living to this particular area. We have the experience and the desire to build a high-quality community and something that we can all be proud of.
Okay, thank you. If you don't mind, if you can sit at that first chair right there. So this way, in case if someone has a question, you don't have to keep going back and forth. Sure. With that, I'll open up to Councilmember Vaughn.
Thank you, Mayor. I've been stewing on this since I watched the April 10th P&Z meeting. Matter of fact, I've watched it about 4 times now, and each time I get growingly more and more frustrated the more I watch it, because in that meeting, and it speaks to what I've been talking about for many, many, many years about our need to look at our zoning and update our comprehensive plan, because in that meeting, it was stated, of course, staff's recommendation was to provide a negative recommendation. And the reason being is because of the desired types of developments that we want to see in the city. But this property it was designated or given a zoning, but it's not been properly zoned as of yet. And so this would be the first time that it would be, if I'm not mistaken, be zoned. And so with that, to hear, staff provide a negative recommendation and the reasons why, but also contradictorily, seemingly, say that it does somewhat fit a couple of the comprehensive plan elements, it's just really, leaving council or putting council in a position, as I've often stated, to pick winners and losers based off how we feel about projects, which is why, I voted against the suburban district rezoning last meeting and prepared to vote against it again tonight, because we're not seemingly on the same page. The planning and zoning provided us a positive recommendation. I looked at it was like a 5-1 vote or something like that. And a lot of good points were brought forth and a lot of questions were presented to staff. And I know the developers are asking questions, okay, if you don't want that, what do you want? And we're not prepared to give them that answer because we're not on the same page and we're not aligned. So, my primary focus is I believe we should consider putting a brake on these types of decisions until we can all get on the same page, because we're going to frustrate the community, we're going to frustrate the developers, and hell, I'm frustrated.
Thank you. Recognizing Councilmember Brown Marshall.
Thank you. I understand your frustration. I really do. And how do we get there is really the big question of all of this. For so many years, we've watched development drive us instead of us driving the development. But this is what we have before us. And I do understand that there are certain rules that do placate around when certain applications come before us. So it's how do we come in and just say, no, we're stopping certain types of applications from becoming before us? Because the state says you can't do that anymore. We have to look at these applications. So I'm going to have a couple of questions to the developer. Oh, there he is in the front row. You stated that you have developed this particular project in other places. Can you tell me somewhere else where you've developed this?
Yes, ma'am. We just finished a development in Stafford called Park Hill Villas. It's on Stafford Run Road, which runs between Murphy Road and Avenue E.
Mm-hmm. What is your desire with this particular piece of land? What attracted you there for this particular project?
I think the location is superior. It's half a block off of Highway 6. It's a half a block off of the Fort Bend Parkway. And I think that for a lot of working folks who work in the medical center or the inner city, the access is really key when I'm looking at buying a piece of property. I'm always looking at what is the access? How long is it going to take me? What's the commute time? And that's really important.
Okay. In terms of, you stated that these properties will start at about $400,000. How well are the sales going over at the Stafford location?
Well, we just started. We just opened the sales office about a month ago, and I think we've got about 6 sales in there right now. So, but you got to have context. The interest rate environment is extremely challenging for the home builders right now. The homes won't start at 400. I think they'll probably end up averaging about 400. They're probably going to start at about 375, maybe less. It depends. We've got some homes in Stafford available for 340. So, but with inflation, material prices are rising, land prices are rising.
And in your professional opinion, do you find that you would have a homeowner who would purchase a property at which is now the median price range, $340,000, willing to pay an HOA fee at a level where everything that you just talked about would be maintained?
Yes, if you really think about it, they're paying about the same. You don't have to hire a yard guy. The yards are going to be very small, so it's not really economic for an individual to hire a guy to come out to cut a few hundred square feet of front yard. But it does make sense for us to hire a professional landscaping crew to come in and maintain the entire neighborhood in one day.
Okay.
And so we'll just effectively pass that along to the homeowners, but they get a better deal than they would on their own. So we're not trying to make money on the deal. We're just trying to keep the level, the street appeal up.
Okay. I thank you so much for that. Grace, I have a question for you. Would you please place it back on the map where you're showing all of the, here we go. Thank you so much. So in terms of high density that's getting ready to come into the city, is it staff's position that because we have so much that's coming in this particular area that we don't really need this particular one that's coming up or that's proposed before us?
Well, we won't say that we don't need it, but since there are several projects that are pending or have been approved and the zoning has already been secured, they have not been fully realized, so we don't know what amenities those homes are going to need, what sort of services they're going to need. So before we allocate more of our undeveloped land to single-family housing, which is the most common type of housing in the city, we think that we should let some of these other projects play out and then determine the best value and the best use for the remaining land.
I really appreciate those comments, Grace. But what I do want to speak to my colleagues about, it goes back to a previous comment that I made at a prior meeting where I stated we can no longer allow all of these developers to come in and to tie up so much time before they develop their projects. Because here's the proof right here in the pudding that it stalls our ability of making decisions on what's standing right before us. We've got to get to the point where we place time limits on some of these approvals. If they're not going to develop it and build it at the time, or say within, a 5-year, which I heard Shashi earlier say that that's about our capacity, then I think that we've got to stop doing that, because this puts us in a very peculiar position at this time, along with all of the state's requirements in regards to applications that we have to review. Those are my comments. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Recognizing Councilmember Riley.
Thank you. I have a question for you. You mentioned the subdivision that you're doing this on Stafford Run and Murphy Road. How many homes did y'all build in that subdivision?
85. They haven't been all built yet. There are about 15 under construction. A couple of sales models are finished. So it's slightly smaller. That's on a 10.5-acre tract. This is 12.
So the question was posed where you built this particular model before. Are there any other areas that you've already built it to where it's been successful in other?
No, ma'am. But the home builders who are in our community, they're building this product all over the city in the master plan communities, and it's been very well received. Sienna, Katy, Cypress, the Woodlands, all the master plan communities have. This is a niche product. It's kind of a hybrid between a conventional single-family home on a 50 or 60-foot lot and a townhome. The lots are very small, and we're trying to give them the same lifestyle amenity that a townhome project would offer, which is basically lock and leave. You don't have to worry about the exterior of your home. We're trying to offer that service. But it's been a very well-received product around the city.
Okay, and my next question is to you, Grace. Have we had any other, you probably may or may not be able to answer this, and maybe this will be a question for Jennifer. Have there been any other inquiries about this particular property to do some other type of development or other options of rezoning?
Not that I'm aware of.
If you don't need to come up here, Jennifer, you don't have to, if that's still the same answer. Okay.
Same answer for her.
Okay. Yeah, this one is tough because on the one side, our staff is giving a negative recommendation, but P&Z is giving a positive. And I kind of hear it's somewhat in our comprehensive plan and somewhat it's not. So this one is really tough. And, I really do hope that as we go forward with all these different projects, we can kind of get in line with what our comprehensive plan actually says and what we're coming up to revise it to do. But thank you.
If I might just say, so the goal 2 of our comprehensive plan is focused on moving beyond a bedroom community. So one aspect of that is providing multiple housing types, but the other points that are part of that comprehensive goal include improving lifestyle amenities and bringing employment opportunities to the city. So goal 2 is to move beyond a bedroom community. And then they fall under goal 2.3 and 2.3A, which are part of the comprehensive goal 2. So it's a big goal, and it has a lot of parts to it, and they are meeting one part of that goal.
So they're meeting one part of that particular goal. So why did y'all give it an overall negative recommendation?
The recommendation is, again, it's based on the fact that we have a lot of up-and-coming high-density housing units, and we just want to make sure that before we go out and provide more rooftops, before we allocate more rooftops, we are carefully considering what land we have left and if it can go towards the other portions of that comprehensive goal, the lifestyle amenities and the employment opportunities, just to make this overall destination city, as we said earlier today.
Thank you, Grace.
All right. Thank you. Recognizing Councilmember Maroulis.
Thank you for coming out tonight and giving us the bigger picture. I met with another developer doing multifamily, and he's having a hell of a time getting to a price point. And so my question to you is, the 375, 400, is that something that you got from the market? Is that what the market's telling you? Or is that kind of where y'all need to be for it to work?
Well, both. Both. Our home builders are telling us that is where they need to be to sell their homes and turn a profit. And based upon the really elevated price of land in this general area, that's where the homes need to be. You can't build a $250,000 house on $6 land.
Right.
The numbers just don't work. If I may just respond to what you said a second ago, there are 114 townhomes planned next door. That property, the owner of that property is shopping that deal right now. So I don't think that project is going to happen anytime soon. We're ready to go. Our intent is to get through this entitlement process and start construction before the end of the year, or at least start development before the end of the year and have rooftops going up in the second quarter next year. So we're here, we're ready, we're willing and able, but we need a green light from the powers that be.
And then is this outside of PD? Is it 68? I can't remember. Across street, Frank Lou's area. Is that outside the PD?
I don't know the numbers, but there's a PD both to the east and to the west.
Okay, so this is separate from...
This is a separate piece of land that's not a part of either of those PDs.
Okay.
But it's adjacent to our track.
Yes.
Yep. All right, thank you.
All right. Recognizing Mayor Pro Tem Clauser.
Yes, I'd like to, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, City Manager, but I'd like to, I'd like to hear just your thoughts on this staff recommendations. And I know what Grace said, but did you have anything additional to offer to this conversation?
Well, I just want to state that consistently since I've been here, I've been hearing we have to be more diligent about what we put on our vacant properties. And while it's not the ideal, because we're still trying to get the comprehensive plan to reflect current desires and current direction, we have to take them as they come. And so staff is of the mindset that we cannot just go business as usual because we don't have the comp plan. We have to take into consideration what's the best use for this property. It is very close to Highway 6, which is a major opportunity for other things that are on our wish list, if you will. So I am 100% supportive of staff's recommendation as the way to go, because we just had a conversation about connections and how that's going to impact our ability to grow. This is a part of it, and as was mentioned by the developer of this property, we do not know the current status of all those out there. They may move forward, they may not. This one may move forward with 5 or 10 and stop. We have to do a better job of putting some time limits on these projects so that we can gauge where we are from a capacity standpoint. So that's one of the primary reasons why we're giving it a negative recommendation.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So Grace, for the staff to make the decision as a negative recommendation, right? What was the main reason for it?
The main reason for the negative recommendation is, again, just we have a lot of projects that have either been already started or have secured the zoning to bring the high-density housing that we need to the area. So we don't want to commit more of our land to the single-family homes when we can use that land to make this a full-service amenity city.
Okay. Well, thank you. You answered it. I think, for my colleagues, I think my problem with this is we have South Creekmont and the other side of Creekmont, and then we have the Metro Car Garage. We have behind that is you have New Point Estates, then you have Silver Ridge Estates. You have all of these developments that's up there without having a comprehensive plan. I know you were reading, Councilmember Riley was asking about the 2.1 and 2.2. It's difficult to vote on something such as this where not understanding what the whole area is going to look like. So, and if I'm living in Shipsman Cove, that was an issue when that got approved, and not to understand the traffic congestion. Now with the Watts extending, right? Because there's that extension from Knight Road now all the way to Highway 6. And then you have with New Quest and with all the other proposals that's coming up here, it's a concerning for me. And the fact that I've seen your product, sir. I've seen it, I've drove by there, where you have it in Stafford. That's not Missouri City. To me, that's not Missouri City, especially in this area, right? Nothing against your project. I don't have anything personal against your project. But when you have Shipsman Cove that looks like a subdivision that's in Missouri City, you have Creekmont that looks like a subdivision that in Missouri City. When you put your product up there with the narrow lots and with the way how it is, it just doesn't look that corridor. So it is not appealing to that corridor at all. So we have an opportunity to put Missouri City where it needs to be. And I agree with you. The whole concept of the city council it's been a bedroom community. Let's stay away from the bedroom community, which means we want to get out there and expand and bring in sales tax and bring in all these different type of businesses. But we have to be cautious with what we're doing. Whether it's hotels, whether it's event centers, whether it's churches, whatever it is coming, we have to plan it right. And I think what we're asking for, city manager, is even a couple of retreats ago was to relook at the comprehensive plan and to see what that is. The comprehensive plan that we have today is from 2017 or 16, if I'm not mistaken. And what that looked like the future at that time was one thing. And now there's so much dramatic changes since that comprehensive plan was put into place. And today we're in 2024. So we have different things, as Sienna Parkway, Watts Plantation, Highway 6, Knights Court. You get into other areas that are closer to Lake Columbia Parkway. We just had the light that put in. There's development that needs to come. So we needed to go back and relook at how many multifamilies and what are the things that we're wanting to do. And, I'm not even going to go there with drainage and all the other things. But traffic congestion and all of that is a concern, right? It's a concern for that corridor. And we got to take advantage of what it's going to look like. And with what you're proposing, with those lots and those homes that small, I just don't see how this fits here. We're not a rice village. We're not there to have this type of concept that's there. We had an opportunity even across from Watts, from Silver Ridge Estates, for these similar type of concept that we came. And with seeing your product, and I'm speaking from seeing your product out there, and I know it's not completely built out. It's next to those apartments. It's just starting, I know. And I don't think that's the look that we're looking for. And then, if it was comparable to, if it looked something similar to Shipsman Cove as you drive through, I would have been at least considering it. But with what you're proposing, to me, this is not something that I would look for congestions. And with that being said, city manager, I would also, not only the comprehensive plan, I would also ask with our public works director and all that, go back and look at, as you presented to us, the traffic congestion. I was going to look on these, not just here in Watts Extension, but also, corridors like Sienna Parkway and all of those areas. I think we needed to get a whole idea and be able to put things during the retreat on the map and kind of see that what we're wanting before we come forward. And I also don't think it's fair to planning and zoning. I would ask you to put a halt until we get the comprehensive plan. And I know that we can't stop, we shouldn't put a pause. We need to do something here because we keep talking about the comprehensive plan. We keep talking about all of this, and I don't see it going there. With that, I yield back, Councilmember Boney.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to, first of all, anyone who knows me knows I'm pro-business and I'm pro-development. And I think that my point, and I want to thank staff because that your response is letting me know that you are listening to the council. And so your responses are based off of what you hear from us, as the city manager just indicated. This is what we want to see. This is what we desire, blah, blah, blah. So you're acting based off of the will of the council. My thing is the decisions that we have been making as a body is seemingly contradictory to what it is that we're telling you, because some of the things that come before us, we say yes to. Some of the things that come before us, we say no to without really having a rhyme or reason or a litmus test, that we can look to and say, oh, okay, this is why we said this, because we don't want this or we do want that. And so, I think one of the questions that I have of you, Mr. Developer, Chris, thank you. Sorry, is outside of the proposed development, based off of what staff's response has been, are you and your team open to doing something else there that would be aligned with what staff is kind of taking direction from council on?
Absolutely, but we have never heard what staff wants. We've asked that question multiple times and have never gotten an answer on what they would like to see on that specific tract of land. It's not a commercial tract, it's a residential tract. You've got townhomes supposedly platted or slated for the tract next door. This is a product that's in between the single family in Shipman's Cove and the townhome product. So You know, if it comes down to aesthetics, yes, we can adjust the architecture to we can tweak that. I don't know if y'all know who I am, but I founded a home building company in 1988, Sims Luxury Builders, and we have built multi-million-dollar homes throughout the Houston area for the last 35 years. We built in River Oaks, Tanglewood, Memorial, The Woodlands, Sweetwater, Sienna. We built all over the place and continue to do so. So we know what it takes to produce a quality product, and we're not about to start lowering our standards now. So, you know, we're trying to, but at the same time, we've got to serve the market. We've got to listen to what the market wants, you know. Mm-hmm. I respect the comprehensive plan. I think that's forward-looking, and, you know, it was done in 2017, but it's obsolete at this point in time. So if somebody would tell me what you guys want on that specific tract of land, we would give it consideration.
And I think that's thank you. I think that's the thing. I would rather us not make a decision on this project today if it's going to not move forward, and allow staff and the developer to work towards something that we express we would like to see in the particular area. But if we don't have a directive or a path forward, then, you know, we're wasting, you know, this developer's time, staff's time, you know, and everybody's time. And so I know I reached out to Jennifer, asked when I looked at this multiple times, P&Z meeting, and saw the response, what it is that we would like to see in the area, and it goes back to our desire as a council. And so, you know, if we're not able to do that, I think that what we would like to do, I would like to see happen is us, you know, move with haste to try to come up with, even if something temporary, where we can put something in place so that when these developers approach us, that we can at least have some sort of a standard until we can get a full comprehensive plan put together, but have some sort of a temporary stopgap that we can deal with these types of matters, because they seem like they're coming before us regularly now. And we have limited land, and we have a unique opportunity to do something special here. So, you know, my recommendation, City Manager, Mayor, is that we try to come together, you know, as soon as possible through a special meeting to try to work through that and kind of flesh that out, even if it takes a couple of days.
Okay, thank you. Recognizing Councilmember Emery.
Yeah, as I understand, this is zoned as SD.
It hasn't been formally zoned, so when it was annexed into the city, it was given the SD designation.
Okay. So I guess my point is that property is not conducive to 5-acre or even 1-acre home estates. So, you know, it's something that we have to look at what's best to put there. It's off what I would consider, even though it's close to Highway 6, it's not conducive to retail. I don't believe anything retail off of Highway 6 is a good use of that piece of property. When we look at the number of units that are available around it, 1,490 units. I'm not sure how many of those would be multifamily versus single development. But I also believe that we've got a number of multifamily on the books, but have never come to fruition. So we say that there's a lot of potential developments of single family or multifamily, but at this point, we really don't know exactly what that's going to look like, because some of those have been on the books for 10 years or more. So, and I guess the other point I'd make is, that would property might be conducive to a multifamily. So the question is, what would you rather have there, multifamily or single residence? I agree that we need to make sure that we're using proper use of the property. And as far as maybe working with the developer and coming up with something, I would assume in a residential mode to maybe get away from that single, that 1-story or 2-story limited space concept to something that might be more amenable to the council and something that you could work with as a developer. So I just, I hear the comment and the concerns about all of what's potential single-family and multifamily around it, but there's a number of those units that have been on the books for years and have never come to fruition. So to try to say, well, that's going to be multifamily when we don't even know if it's really something that whoever has that zoning, is really going to move on it. So, at this point, I understand, where we're coming from the council or from the staff's perspective, but let's not, from my perspective, I don't want to say that can't be anything other than multifamily or retail or whatever. I think we keep an open mind, and if we can look at a different product that might be a little more amenable, I think we should work towards that. And I'm not saying we don't need to look at our comprehensive plan and make adjustments to it, but I just have difficulty with turning this down without any real further analysis and opportunities to work with the developer to put something there that's workable. So, thank you.
Thank you. I think there's another whole set of people signed up to speak again. So did I.
You're one of them.
As our Councilmember Boney says, kick the tires, squeeze the fruit. So we're going back and forth. But I think the problem that we have here is you have staff saying negative recommendation, planning and zoning saying yes, and it's coming to city council as, now, what do we do? Right? So, and I get it. That's why we go out there and get elected and tell people that we're going to do the right thing and do it. But what my problem is, city manager, I'm not sure if there's a holistic plan that everybody's following and talking to each other, understands what we want for these regions and what we want for these areas. We're only looking at parcels of land and what comes in there. We had, parcels of land with the event center and hotels. Does that fit where it needs to really go? I mean, is it a land where off of a major thoroughfare, it would probably do a better job? And then, I just feel like we just have to look at all of this before we say no. And there's no doubt. I don't doubt that your products, aren't, that you have developed in different areas. But the ones that I've saw Stafford, and I'm saying I don't think that fits that neighborhood, especially if I'm driving out of Shipsman Cove or if I'm traveling on Watts Plantation, all of a sudden you hit that. Now, I get that there's a 14 acres townhouse that's zoned in there. And that took a lot of community work between myself, Councilmember Boney, Councilmember Emery, and I think it was Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Clauser working with Creekmont and to understand what that looks like and what that. I did get a few calls on this saying no because they missed the planning and zoning options to come in there and speak. So I got a couple of calls. I can only speak for the calls that I got, basically saying no, that's not what it should look like. I don't know where they got the pictures and things from. So, again, I think we needed to go back, and I agree with some of our colleagues. Do they want to see an apartment? Do they want to even see a hotel or event center right that close by? I'm not sure. But I think to see what we needed to do. I think what we have here is, I think that PD 38 is single family, the one that we saw earlier when we were talking about a different project of an event center across. So there's just so much stuff going on. And I know that these were not a lot of people were jumping on this because Missouri City wasn't that hot and it wasn't growing like the way it is. So it is now. So it's our problem, right? So we're here. We have to decide what we want. Like, as someone said it earlier, we have to think for what it's going to look like 5 years down the road, right? We're tasked with that. Not the council that's going to be here 5 years from now. That's not the task. It's the task that's in front of us. So we have to make sure that we get it right. And we're going back to your office and to Development Services and to others, Shashi, there's Marcus. There's very well thought out staff that's here that understands this dynamic and knows the challenges when it comes to traffic congestion, water issues. There's just so many concepts that's going on. And I believe the staff knows every piece of property and what it's going to intake to build it the way that we look at. So I think we needed to go back and relook at some of this. And perhaps even with this project, I'd be open to having maybe another dialogue or with staff or understanding what it is. I mean, I just felt like the staff recommended no. Planning and zoning said yes, based on our comprehensive plan. Now it's before council. It's what are you going to do now? So I don't think that's the way we needed to roll this out. We needed to have a better understanding, better plan, and that's why I feel like this needs to be relooked at, re-talked about, or redone in some way or form. And one thing I've noticed, it's all hardy plank, the one that I saw.
They all are.
They're all hardy planks. And you look at Creekmont, and you look at Shipsman Cove. I mean, they look like, the typical subdivision that we have here. Dry Creek or any of those, Lake Columbia or any of those, it kind of goes into the fit of what we have. And I get what you're saying. When you drive to Austin, you see all of these, hardy planks and that different gray color shades of grays and all of this that's there. I don't think that's what the look of Missouri City. Maybe that's what the market is demanding now in certain parts of areas, but I really have to see how we can put this together and how it's going to overall look for a certain corners of Missouri City to see how that would fit. And that would be my challenge to you all, rather than driving down and seeing all of this hardy planks, then you cross that over, then it's starting to look like the Missouri City. And I get it, the town center in Sugar Land, and all those apartments and all that have a certain look. But when I drive to Sugar Land, whether I'm at that Marriott or walking around there, that whole area, even though they have mixed use, they have commercial, they have all of that, it doesn't look different to me. I don't feel like I'm in Stafford when I'm in Sugar Land, even though they have so many mixed use. And I'm afraid that in Missouri City, it's going to start to look like, we're either in Austin or Stafford, and then parts of it is Missouri City and parts of it is not. So I wanted to see that look, and that's what I'm going for. I'm not completely against what you're building or what the project that you're trying to bring up, but we have an opportunity here to get it done right and see how that fits. So if you can go back, look at Town Center Sugar Land, compare that to all of the other building structures in Sugar Land, including neighborhoods. To me, they all look kind of the same. So I'll yield to that, Councilmember Morales.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Mr. Sims, just to get a little bit more tactical, where would the entrance be into the neighborhood?
There would actually be two entrances off of Shipman's Cove. We met with Mr. Snell. We originally had one entrance, and he said he needed two entrances. That is not the final land plan. We actually shifted those two entrances to the north to where it's just north of the island or the Esplanade down towards Watts Plantation. So there would be two in and outs.
Okay. I'm not completely against it. I am concerned about price point. I am concerned about the density. It looks like you're packing a lot of stuff in one box, man. I believe we owe you answers, and I think it's fair that we sit down and talk through some of these questions, because I also have questions that I need answers to. I appreciate your background, and I think from hearing from us now that we do want a high-quality product in our city. So maybe through some conversations we get to somewhere to figure out maybe this is good a fit or not. So for me, again, I think we owe you answers, and I'm looking for some answers in myself. So those are my questions and comments.
Yeah, and I would just comment to, in response to the mayor's comments regarding materials, hardy plank, yeah, that's a material of choice for a lot of production home builders right now. We had that issue in Stafford. They required that 50% of the homes down there be stucco. They wanted stucco as opposed to hardy plank. I know that in Missouri City and the Taylor Morrison project, that's all hardy. The Dinnerstein project, that's all hardy. So, you guys have clearly approved that type of product to date in Missouri City. If that's not the look you want going forward, I'm open. Just tell me what you want. Tell me what the issues are. Is if it's an architectural aesthetic issue, if it's a material selection issue, we can work through that.
So, Mayor, I have a question for the attorney. If this does not pass, how do we get this back for a further conversation?
If this does not pass, a member of the prevailing side would be able to bring the item back up for reconsideration pursuant to council's rules at a later date.
Thank you.
Ms. Ann? Okay. Recognizing Councilmember Boney.
Mayor, I just wanted to, I sent another email to Jennifer, who responded got back to me later this afternoon. I wanted to ask if she could come up because I asked her the very question, and I think, like you said, Councilmember Rulis, we do owe it to not only this developer, but all developers. But in this particular case, I asked what specifically would we want to see there based off of what we've expressed. And so if you could, I was going to read it, but I was like, you're here, so you might as well respond.
I won't read it, but we can certainly get it to all of council. I think it's in line with what the discussion is. And understand when we're talking about land use, I know there's a lot of discussion on timeframes. But when we're talking about land use, it is property rights. And so some of those allocations that are out there are not particular projects. It may be a landowner that's positioning their property to market it for a particular use. So the zoning will stay on some of these properties for a period of time because you don't actually have a developer that's ready to move forward at that time. So I just want to clarify on that. And then when we're talking about land use in terms of, what do we want as opposed to what, we don't want, it's a collection of what the desires are of the community. And so what the recommendation is really pointing you to is in order to move beyond a bedroom community, doesn't mean that housing is off the table, but it's understanding housing in relation to how do you maximize for the other types of uses that you want. So there may be proposals that include housing. Fort Bend Town Center is a proposal that includes housing, but it also includes non-residential because those work in unison with each other. So with this particular product that we're looking at, it's one single family development that's not necessarily combined with any other particular use. And so that's where, that communication is there has been expressed, you all have mentioned it tonight, on different land uses that you want to see. So it's looking at those opportunities with this remaining land that you have available.
And what type of outside
amenities?
Yes, what other amenities would you say based off of what you've heard? And, the developer can hear that would probably be a good fit in that particular location.
So, when we're looking at it, you're looking at, access, uses that, could benefit from the access. Watts Plantation, as you know, is extending to the east, connecting further, which will continue all the way to the east. So that opens up that area, not only to Highway 6, but Watts Plantation, Knight Road. So you have an opportunity. It may not be retail. Councilmember Emery is absolutely right. Certain retail uses thrive on visibility. So they're going to be looking at visibility for the most traffic, that they can attract there. So it may not be those sit-down dining kind of options, but it may still be in the form of, some of the other activities that you described, hotels. It could be, it could be event centers.
It's not one or more particular use. It's just the opportunity that if you lock this down for more single family, where do those types of uses go from there?
Thank you. And then the last thing, Mayor, I just wanted to kind of reiterate, and City Manager, I don't know how quickly we could do this or if my colleagues are amenable to this, but I think sooner than later we need to have some sort of a meeting to try to at least work through, where we are right now and just get this ball rolling, because we keep talking about it. I don't want to sound like a broken record and, just talk about the issue and the problem. I really want to move forward with a solution. And so I think that to start, we need to at least identify or have identified some of these remaining parcels and figure out kind of at least temporarily what it is that we would like to see in some of these areas, or what we would like to see, period, and then kind of pick and choose where we would like to see them placed until we can get a full comprehensive plan done that includes the community's feedback and involvement, because these things keep coming before us. Mayor.
All right, Councilmember Brown Marshall.
Okay, thank you. Jennifer, I just had, she left. or Grace, I don't know. In terms of us making requests with regards to the types of materials that a developer can use, are we still able to do that?
We are not. The architectural standards, there's a section in the draft ordinance that explains it better than I'll probably be able to read it to you, but Title 10 of Subtitle Z of Chapter
I can't hear
1000.
you.
I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice.
Okay.
Okay, so there's some, you want to elaborate for me, Joyce?
Certainly, we can go into, if you all would like to go into a closed session to receive attorney-client information, we can certainly do that if there's a motion and a second to go in the back to receive information on the regulation that Grace is referring to.
Do you have, I would say as Councilmember Brown Marshall, you have anything else other than that?
I just have one question for the applicant, or it may even be a question for Joyce. At this stage, does the applicant have an opportunity to withdraw?
An applicant can withdraw at any stage of the process. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Rose?
I wanted to add something to Councilmember Boney's comment. It's like, it is what we want, but I also want it to be market-driven. Sometimes what we want doesn't always fit into our market. And so if we can get Herman's support or somebody from ED to give us also a little bit of market information, that would really make something really look good. Go ahead.
Just so council is aware, I am in the process of securing a contract with a facilitator where we have outlined a proposal to come before you to review the available vacant land, as well as looking at the current land use versus future land use. And in addition to that, also looking at the utilities, traffic, where we want the density, all of that. It's just a matter of trying to get that contract finalized and getting them on board so we can start having those conversations. And to the point of, we've even included as a part of that process some community outreach. It will not be your full-blown, in-depth, comprehensive plan, but at this point I don't think that we need that because we have a very clear understanding of where we want to go and what we're trying to achieve. And so trying to get that before you as soon as I can get that contract finalized, we will start those meetings. So that is underway.
That's helpful.
Mayor, may I please? Angel, in terms of, would you explain that if the applicant chose to withdraw, would that provide him an opportunity to come back on the same, but maybe making changes or whatever, or listening to some other ideas that Herman may have?
I'll let Joyce speak to that.
Certainly, the applicant could do that, but if the application changes significantly, then the applicant would have to go back to the Planning and Zoning Commission and go through that process again, depending on the types of changes that are made. So I don't know if there's a schedule, but if there's a schedule, that could delay it.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Well, I think we heard it from everybody tonight, what we're doing with it. I mean, I just think, it's just not fair. We're at the last draw for the applicant to be at, and we're still having all these discussions, which takes back to a couple of steps backwards. So I don't think it's fair to him, and and I hate to see a negative from staff and a positive from them, and then maybe a negative from city council. It just doesn't look like we're all on the same page, and I think that's part of the conversation. I think Councilmember Boney and others were talking about. We probably going to need to have this much sooner and quicker and figure this out. So at least we have this. So I don't know what this motion is, Councilmember Brown Marshall, that you have, and it's been seconded by Councilmember Riley. So I don't know what's for that. I do recall there was a legal question or something that EJ said to take an executive session if we wanted to.
It would be very brief if my colleagues are open to it. I think it's something that we all need to hear.
That's your motion?
Yes, sir.
Is that your second, Councilmember Riley?
Yes.
All right. Let's go and vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
All right, we'll be right back.
Thank you.
City Secretary, the time is 9:34 p.m. The City Council is back into regular meeting. Item 8A2. Is there any motion?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay, so there's a motion by Councilmember Brown Marshall. Please state the motion.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, I'd like to make a motion that we postpone this at least for the next 120 days at the most.
Is that your second, Councilmember Ryan? Okay, seeing no one else on the queue, we'll go ahead and vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Item 9A.
An ordinance of the City of Missouri City, Texas, amending the general budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2023, and ending September 30th, 2024, transferring various appropriations among accounts, appropriating supplemental revenue to various fund accounts, transferring certain authorized staffing between departments for fiscal year 2024, authorizing the appropriate city officials to take steps necessary to accomplish such transfers, making certain findings, and containing certain provisions relating to the subject.
Okay, we have a presentation by Bertha Alexander, Chief Budget and Performance Officer.
So good evening again. So we are amending the 2024 budget and transferring one full-time position from the General Government Department to Economic Development. In terms of the general fund, we are increasing contractual services in the amount of $45,000, with $15,000 of that being for the transport of animals, and the remaining $30,000 is for veterinarian services. We're also increasing animal control food supply in the amount of $35,000. There's an increase in the wellness program of $20,000, of which the wellness program is funded from United Healthcare. We're increasing landscape services by $50,000 in order to absorb the maintenance contracts for Sienna Mud 2. There's an increase in transportation equipment of $37,645. That's in order to purchase a trailer and an error board for right-of-way crew safety when working on medians. So in total for the general fund, we're using $187,645. For special revenue funds, the State Seizure Fund 205, we're increasing transfer budget of $47,703 so that we can separate federal seizure funds from state seizure funds. The net impact to the state seizure fund is a decrease of $47,703, in fund balance. Fund 206 is a new fund, Federal Seizure Fund. We're increasing the revenue in the amount of $47,703. The net impact to fund balance is an increase of $47,703. There are no budgeted expenditures in the Federal Seizure Fund. The donation fund. So we're increasing revenue by $20,000 for sponsorships for the Independence Day Festival and the Mayor Youth Commission Banquet. We're also increasing revenue by $15,000 to account for a donation from Niagara Bottling in order to improve a local park. There's an increase of $126,000, which is a donation from Fondren Park Homeowners Association, which is for the East Hampton Park Development Project. In terms of expenditures, we're increasing special events by $20,000 for the Independence Day Festival and the Mayor's Youth Commission Banquet. There is an increase in transfer to the Parks Project Fund 405 in the amount of $15,000. That's in order to add solar lighting to the basketball court at Community Park. There's also an increase to the same fund of $126,000. That's to help fund the trail and parking lot project for the East Hampton Park development. The net impact is zero because our revenue equals our expense. Fund 405, which is capital projects, in particular the Parks Project Fund. There's an increase in revenue for the transfer from the donation fund in the amount of $15,000. Once again, that's the donation from the Niagara Bottling Company, and that's to improve a park. There's also an increase in transfer from the donation funds into Fund 405 in the amount of $126,000, and that is the donation from the Fondren HOA, which is for the East Hampton Park project. In terms of expense, there is an increase of $15,000 and $126,000 for the transfers to the project. Parks project, and that's for the solar lights for the basketball court, as well as the as well as the trail and parking lot project for East Hampton. Once again, the net impact to that fund is zero. And as I previously mentioned, we're transferring one unfunded FTE from the General Government Department to the Economic Department. That concludes my presentation.
All right. Thank you. See a motion by Councilmember Clauser, seconded by Councilmember Riley. Seeing no one else on the queue, let's go ahead and vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 9D.
An ordinance of the City of Missouri City, Texas, changing the zoning classification of an approximate 12.5 acres of land from SD Suburban District and subject to specific use permit number 164 to PD Planned Development District number 119, describing said 12.5 acres of land, regulating and restricting the development and use of property within such PD Planned Development District, amending the zoning district map of the City of Missouri City, providing for an amendment to the comprehensive plan, providing for repeal, providing a penalty, providing for severability, and containing other provisions relating to the subject.
Okay, we have a presentation by Ejima Edwards. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I do not have a presentation for tonight. We do have the slides just in case if you would like to see them again, though.
Okay. Recognizing Councilmember Boney.
Yes, Mayor. I was just going to make a motion that we postpone this item as we did the previous item for up to 120 days.
Okay. Okay, so that's been a motion. I signed up to speak. Crystal, what is this that you just handed over to us?
That was provided to me by Ms. Edwards to pass out to you. These are additional letters for public comment.
Yes. That we
Protest
received,
letters.
yes, received over the weekend.
Over the weekend?
Yes,
Right?
and then one today.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I see the motion. There's been a second by Councilmember O'Reilly. And I would just make the suggestion of this is, as I think as I've stated, I voted against this last time. I just want to tell you, when you look at traffic congestion and all of this, items that we talked about at that same time was my reason for it, but I understand that now there's a motion and a second to postpone this item. So if it does get postponed for 120 days, I would like to see that if staff can go through this and figure out what those congestions, especially around Elkins School, the lanes, the lane change, make it left onto during traffic time onto Highway 6. And my other issue was lighting around, and this was a component that had talked about on Knights Court. So with that, I yield back. Mayor Pro Tem Clausen.
Yes, my question is to Councilmember Boney. What is the reason you are requesting to postpone this item?
Right. So as Mayor indicated about himself, I too voted against this item last time. And so my purpose is that in listening to a lot of the information that was presented to us and the questions that I posed, I think that there was a lot more information that was needed. Of course, drainage impact analysis was not provided, nor traffic impact analysis. And so with those things considered, I was prepared to vote against it again, but after the decision that we just made on the previous item, I felt it would be who the developer to provide that information if they would like for those that voted against it to consider voting for it in the near future. But that was why I made that decision.
Thank you.
Recognizing Councilmember Maroulis.
I saw Richard here, and I wanted to ask a quick question about the drainage.
Drainage impact?
Yes, sir.
That I've actually evaluated it, sir. At this time, the city has not been able to review it because they're in the process of getting an okay from you guys before they are allowed to really go through the complete review for it. But I have reviewed the project, and I have determined that we can place it in there in compliance with all the regulations.
Yeah, and Richard, last time you were here, I believe you said that this is actually lower than the levee. I can't remember.
Yeah, it sits a little lower than the levee, yes, sir.
And then you would drain towards the existing...
towards not flat bottom, sorry. It's a
detention pond.
Yeah, we have detention ponds and mitigation in this site. It is addressed. It's part of the Brazos River backwater effects in this location.
And then the usage that you are planning on, if this were to pass, would you consider this being a high traffic usage or a low or kind of in the middle?
No, we believe it's a pretty low traffic use in this case. The closest we have found that the city has on the books is an office environment, which does have some traffic in the mornings. I do not believe this particular set goes through that, but we are planning on using office environment to determine our impact compared to the rest of the traffic in that area.
Thank you, sir.
We have already decided that we want to line one of the driveways with the proposed City of Missouri City traffic signalization at Elkins.
Thank you.
So, is Shashi or anybody here? Mark? Shashi left.
County is awarded.
I'm Shashi's understudy.
So the intersection light with that signal, right, for the traffic, has that been looked at, or where are we on that?
The intersection light at Elkins High School, we would need to review this traffic impact analysis to determine the exact effect of that and when it would need to come in and ultimately whose responsibility it would be to implement that.
So was that traffic impact analysis done, study done? Do we have that?
For this development, it is not currently. I haven't received it or reviewed it. So I will work with the developer. We'll get a TIA. I'll review it.
The drainage study is not done either, right?
The drainage study hasn't been finalized.
It hasn't been finalized. So along with the other things that we have, 2 schools, traffic, intersection, now you're hearing there's no traffic impact analysis study. And then also with I personally know this property. I know that the drainage it's really deep and it's a concern. So if you don't have that study, I can't support this cause, and that's why I'm asking if you have that. Did we ever request it, or is this something that we're going to wait and see how this goes?
I have submitted it to the city.
Sir, I wasn't talking to you. Sorry, sit down. I'm sorry. I was talking to him. Please.
It's been submitted. It's in review with our drainage consultant.
Okay, now you can come up. Say what you want to say.
And if I may,
I apologize, sir.
No, it's okay. I'm just saying you can't just yell from the crowd. Please.
No, I apologize, sir. He did say I did submit it, and it's being in review.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. I don't have any other questions. So there's been a motion by Councilmember Boney to.
if I may just quickly point out that those studies under our current regulations are
Not required?
Correct. Thank you.
Yeah. So Councilmember Boney, that's your motion to extend it to 120 days? That's your second? No one else in the queue? I guess you need a vote?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The motion carries 6-1.
All right. Perfect.
Thank
Thank you. Now, item 10A.
10A, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Missouri City, Texas, authorizing an interlocal agreement with Fort Bend County for redevelopment of Stamo Park, providing for repeal and providing for severability.
Okay. Daniel Stewart? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So this is the resolution that will authorize the interlocal agreement with Fort Bend County, allowing the $4 million transfer from the 2023 Parks Bond through the county to the city upon release of the competitive bidding. So the city will follow through with design and will invoice the county at the time of competitive bidding for the transfer of the $4 million in support of the Stamo Sports Park project.
There's a motion by Councilmember Riley, seconded by Councilmember Brown Marshall. Seeing no one else in the queue, let's go ahead and vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you. Item 10B.
10B, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Missouri City, Texas, identifying certain city officials with authority to open and maintain an account or accounts with said bank or the City of Missouri City Insurance Trust Fund, providing for repeal and containing other provisions relating to the subject.
Yes. Monique?
Yeah, so this is just, we need to update our authorized signers for our Wells Fargo account. So we'll be removing Elena Portis, our former assistant city manager, and adding our assistant director of financial services, Corinne Hudson.
Okay.
And this is for the trust account.
Yes, thank you. There's a motion by Councilmember Brown Marshall, seconded by Councilmember Emery. Seeing no one else on the queue, let's go ahead and vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you. Item 10C.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Missouri City, Texas, identifying certain officials with authority to open and maintain an account or accounts with Wells Fargo Bank National Association, providing for repeal and containing other provisions relating to the subject.
Monique.
Again, so this is for our Wells Fargo account. This is the operating account, removing Elena Portis, the former assistant city manager, from that account.
Thank you. There's been a motion by Councilmember Emery, seconded by Councilmember Riley. Seeing no one else on the queue, let's go ahead and vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you. Item 10D.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Missouri City, Texas, authorizing the Deputy and Assistant City Manager of Financial Services Department Director and Assistant Director of Financial Services Department to negotiate and execute any and all contracts and other documents incident to establishing bank and investment accounts for the purpose of the investment of City of Missouri City funds and providing for repeal.
Okay, Monique.
Again, removing Elena Portis, our former assistant city manager, from our investment account.
Okay, thank you. There's been a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Clauser, seconded by Councilmember Emery. Seeing no one else on the queue, let's go ahead and vote.
Member Brown Marshall.
I'm so sorry.
The motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you. Item 10E.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Missouri City, Texas, approving the submission of a community-oriented policing services hiring program grant application to the United States Department of Justice and containing other provisions related thereto.
Okay, we have Rachel. We finally waited all this time for this.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The Police Department is seeking application to the COPS hiring grant. As you can see presented before you, this is a 3-year grant in which the COPS office pays up to $125,000 per officer over a 3-year period. We are requesting 2 officer spots through this grant. One of those has to be a veteran officer. Or a veteran. So the 3 years, we have up to a year for hiring of the officer and then of both the positions. And then year 1, there's a 55% match. Year 2, a 67% match. Year 3, an 80% match. After year 3 is completed, the city must retain the position for at least a year.
Okay.
Happy to answer any questions you have.
We're not going to. We have a motion by Councilmember Brown Marshall, seconded by Councilmember Riley. Seeing no one else on the queue, we're going to go ahead and vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Sorry for making you wait this long. Thank you. Item 10F.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Missouri City, Texas, approving the submission of a community-oriented policing services promoting access to crisis teams program grant application to the United States Department of Justice and containing other provisions related thereto.
Good evening again. Also seeking application. This is still a COPS grant, but it's promoting access to crisis teams, which means that the police department is wanting to put together a crisis response team, a co-responder crisis response team. This grant is an amazing opportunity for us right now. So it's a 2-year, no-match grant. Under that, we would request funds for 2 contract therapists for the community, each working about 20 hours a week, so part-time for both of them. It gives us full access to a rental car, funds for a rental car for both years for us. The therapists would have access to that, as well as all fees associated with the National CIT Convention. So that is one of the stipulations of the grant, is that we must send at least one person to the National Convention each year, and we have written in both therapists as part of that grant. It covers computer, radio, printer, various office supplies. It will cover our software tracking system, to be able to manage all of those locations where we have consumers within the city and we can respond out there. It'll be a co-responder team, so our therapists will be responding in conjunction with our officers to places in the community where somebody is suffering from a mental health crisis.
Okay.
Questions?
Thank you. We have a motion by Councilmember Emery, and looking for a second.
Member Riley.
Councilmember Riley, and the system went to sleep. Councilmember Riley is seconded. With no one else on the queue, can we vote?
The motion carries unanimously.
All right.
you so much.
Thank you. Item number 11, our city council announcement. We'll start with our council member at large, Sonia Brown Marshall.
Thank you. When I grow up, I want to be like Don and Penny Johnson. I can't grow anything. So that was really, really amazing on tonight to see their journey and how they are able to garner such a prestigious award. So congratulations to them again. While MCTX, we did not appear to have significant torrential damages from last week's tornadoes. There are so many of our neighbors, some more up north, more east, that did, and I just wish them the very best in trying to get, everything back together, and with them getting some electricity, because we know that it's not if it's going to happen to us, but when. So speaking of tornadoes, for the first time since I was a little child, I had to be placed in a shelter in place last week. Yeah, we named it Hurricane Angel while we were there to watch our prestigious Angel Jones receive her ASPA award for being an outstanding public administrator. Congratulations again to you. And what I admired the most about what was going on is we were all sitting there confused, like, are they really putting us in a shelter in place? And they were like, yeah, move it, move it, move it. And so they did get us to a safe area, but the program was able to continue. So that was wonderful. I heard that the police had an outstanding police week last week. I didn't get a chance to get by to try any of the food or the cookouts. So DJ and Assistant Chief just saved me a plate the next time. Had an inspiring Economic Development Committee meeting last week. I didn't get an opportunity to stay very long, but from what I heard, it was really, really good. The Mayor's Youth Commission banquet, excellent, as always. Chalk Fest, I understand it was a big success. I was planning on going on that Sunday, but I really thoroughly enjoyed the post of the chalk just, washing away in the drain because of the weather. Congratulations to those winners. Thank you, Mayor. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Next, we have our council member at large, position 2, and Mayor Pro Tem Glenn Clauser.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I want to also echo the thoughts of Councilmember Brown Marshall with those who have been affected by the storm. My thoughts and prayers are with you all. I want to wish a happy belated birthday to our city manager, Angel Jones. And I also want to wish a happy birthday to Jeffrey L. Boney, who turned the big 5-0, and it was a pleasure to toast to you at your event. I also attended the Economic Development Committee meeting and the Mayor's Youth Commission banquet, where our Miss Texas, Ellie Bro, was the keynote speaker, and she did an amazing job. And our Youth Commission seniors received scholarships from various sponsors. So that was a very nice banquet, as usual. And I want to thank the Parks and Rec Department for putting that on. Danielle and Donnie and Danielle Stewart and everybody who had a hand in that. It was a wonderful event, as usual. I, too, attended the Chalk Fest and brought my daughter, and she decided to sign up impromptu, and she made a beautiful art piece that said Happy Mother's Day, and it was a surprise to me. So I had a great time with Councilmember Maroulis, and so that was wonderful. So again, kudos, great job. And a big congratulations to our city manager, Angel Jones, who received the ASPA Public Service Leadership Award from the University of Houston. Great job, outstanding job, and I'm so happy that I nominated you and they accepted your nomination. So congratulations. We have the best of the best of the best city manager. And that concludes my announcements.
Thank you. Recognizing District 8 Councilmember Monica Riley.
Thank you, Mayor, and happy birthday, Angel, and happy 50th, Jeffrey L. Boney. I want to send my thoughts and prayers out there to the Houston residents who are suffering. Just know that your neighboring city is lifting you up in prayer. I do want to thank the Women of Blue that came out to our city council meeting tonight to observe and to support. So recognition to Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, Omicron Gamma Zeta Chapter, and my dear friend Dr. Jay McCunwan, who brought everyone out here to observe our meeting. So we hope that you'll come back and stay involved in our city. Big shout out to my middle child, the child who's directly in the middle of my 7 kids, Sherelle. Happy birthday, my loving daughter. I appreciate you, who is also Miss Phi Beta Sigma for University of Houston, still reigning. Had an opportunity to go to Rich Product, their 10-year annual celebration for all of the support that they have given to our Missouri City Police Department, the VFW 4010, the Police Association, and so many other organizations. Councilmember Emery and I were blessed with lots and lots of good cheesecake. So thank you so much for that. I attended the Planning and Zoning meeting, which was very informative and intense. But it was great information, and I was glad to see so many engaged residents. I want to send a shout out to the Hunters Glen Elementary 5th grade students. Had an opportunity to attend their 5th grade ceremony. I was the keynote speaker last year, and they brought me back this year to present 2 major awards to Kaylee King and Aiden Carroll on the Community Impact Award, which was very suiting because I love serving the community. Top Soap Car Wash is open to provide soap and water to your dirty cars. So go out there. They're on Highway 6. The coffee with Missouri City Cop was wonderful and well attended. And want to say congratulations to Miss Tiffany Penock. Knowledge is Power through the organization Texas Cops and Communities was very wonderful, successful in partnership with the City of Missouri City and Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office. Had an opportunity to support the Eye of Infinity Cancer Foundation mental health walk with Christopher and Danielle Brown, hosted in Hunters Glen Park. And congratulations to all of those that got sworn in last week with Fort Bend ISD. Kristen Tassan is the new board president. Adam Shue, Sugarland District 1, 2, 3, and 4 were all reelected. Councilmember Alice Chen, who's a new mayor pro tem, and Councilmember Virginia Rosas, and of course the newly elected Joyce Wilkins as school board staff at MSD. That concludes.
All right, thank you. Recognizing District B, Councilmember Jeffrey L.
Thank you, Mayor. I just hope all of the ladies had an outstanding Mother's Day, if you are a mother, and hope you got showered with nothing but love and praise on your special day. I, too, had the ability to attend the Mayor's Youth Commission banquet. Thank you, Mayor, for continuing that legacy and making sure those youth have something to look forward to impart to the city as well as into themselves. We also attended a Divine Nine photo shoot for those of us in the Divine Nine that are in Fort Bend County government. Mayor Pro Tem Clouser was there along with myself and several others who are elected officials and who work in municipal government, across the cities and county. Of course, the AKAs was out front at the bottom, but at the top. Okay, I'm sorry. But anyway, that was fun. I also attended the Texas Black Expo corporate luncheon where Shannon Sharp was the speaker. Shout out to Jerome Love, who always does an amazing job, 21 years doing this, empowering small businesses. I also attended a breast cancer walk, participated in a breast cancer walk for a colleague of mine, Sean, who is battling cancer at this time, and definitely want to support those types of efforts. I did not have on the tutu, but I did show up in Omega Psi Phi attire. Congratulations, City Manager Jones. Unfortunately, I could not attend on your Greater Houston chapter of American Society honors, and Mayor Pro Tem for nominating her. Today is a sad day, y'all. It's the end of Taurus season.
Oh, Lord.
Today is the end of Taurus season, so but it's not the end of May. So we still are May babies, both City Manager Jones and I. So we're still celebrating all month long. Is that right, City Manager Jones? Yes, sir. All right. And last couple of things. Speaking of birthdays, my wife will be celebrating her birthday. I really do not get to celebrate my birthday a lot because I was born on Mother's Day. And my wife, I have to celebrate her on Mother's Day, but she also is May 21st. So I only really get a good 7 days, if that, to celebrate, if that to celebrate. So nonetheless, shout out to her on her upcoming birthday tomorrow. And lastly, we lost a legend and icon, Reverend Bill Lawson, who was a friend of mine, and he passed away on my birthday, May 14th, actually, at the age of 95. May he rest in peace.
Thank you. Recognizing District C Councilmember Anthony Merlos.
Call Sharwin and tell her to buy an extra pair of drawers for Father's Day. Anyway, and socks. I want to publicly thank the Communications Department. I sent a letter to the city manager, but you guys are doing a great job telling our story, which is something that's very near and dear to Councilmember Boney and us. The Police Week video, the Freedom Tree video, starring our own Crystal Roan, and then tonight's videos, exceptional videos. Keep up the good work. Keep telling our story, because a lot of people say we're not doing it right, but keep pushing that data, and we appreciate you. I did miss a PD cookout. I showed up and Chief goes, "We already fed him, go," so I had to leave. And then I want to introduce everybody to a new coffee shop by the name of Fellowship Coffee. It's new to Township, exceptional coffee. He's looking to add some additional things like bakery and whatnot, but it's real cool, and I welcome everyone to go by and check it out. Mayor's Youth Council, I did not know that Troy Carter was also a pastor, so we thank him for his prayer. Finally, along the lines of prayer, a lot of information tonight about what's going over in the Middle East, and it's personal to me, but I wanted to say that we all do want peace in this world. We all want peace in this city and in this country. So we're with you. We support peace, and that's my piece. Thank you.
All right, recognizing District D Councilmember Floyd Emery.
I attended coffee with a cop over at Target. We had a great turnout of police officers and Target shoppers, so they were able to interact with our police, and we had some that really asked questions of the police, so it turned out to be a great event. I had coffee with, cook with the cop, or in other words, sweat with the cop. It was really hot, and it was great to see our chief standing over a hot plate, cooking hot dogs and hamburgers. So that was a good turnout. Recognition of our city manager for outstanding civil employee recognition. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for offering her application up for consideration. I too was a little uneasy when they told me to get out of the room and go get underneath a wall, a library with no windows. So we all survived it, so that's okay. And finally, I heard or saw on video our great Mr. Boney singing debut. All I can say is, Travis Scott, watch out. He's after your homies. So with that, that's all I have.
All right.
Oh my God.
Boom. Yeah. I don't think I can top that. Wow. All right. All right. Along with my colleagues, I too want to take this moment to wish all the Houstonians that had to deal with the weather, and especially with Mayor Whitmire and support for him. I did saw that Sugarland, City of Sugarland, was extended their public works to City of Houston to help them out, and it's being National Public Works Week. Kudos to all of those who are out there helping with Houston. It is a problem. I had a couple of events that I had to I had the opportunity to participate. One of them was SWIBA International, which is a food distribution that we were able to do for some without power. Got to participate in that, and of course the Top Soap Car Wash, and one at White School, which is in District C. Had an opportunity to go over there and meet and talk with the kids. Great job on National Police Week. Kudos to all the officers that we have here. Great video. It was beautiful. And then I also got the opportunity to join Councilmember Maroulis and Councilmember Riley for the Texas Cops and Community program, talking about knowledge of power. Knowledge is power. It was a very educational and informative session. Congratulations to City Manager on your award. Now you can say that you've been here past a year and got an award for it, not right? And again, congratulations to Jeff turning 50. I had a nice little roast, but I was not going to do that here. Did a great job. And one other thing is communications department. I know Councilmember Maroulis kind of looked over and saw that on my sheet, so he said it first. That's why I want to put up a wall here. But great job. Communication, I mean, City Manager, I think I would make that comment to you. The Mother's Day video, the police video, the Crystal, talking about boards and commissions with that video alerting them. And then that one video with our city secretary rubbing on the Freedom Tree. I just thought that was really nice, really cool. Great job to communications. I mean, Gerald was a star. Great job unto all. MYC, thank you to Daniel Finney, Daniel Stewart, Allison, Donnie Hayes, Gerald, the entire team for helping to coordinate that. That took a lot. And thank you to City Manager for always supporting that Mayor's Youth Commission group. And I will, and there are some events that taking place. You see some of these dialogues with comprehensive plan and all that. I just want the citizens to know that the city and your city staff and your city council is working hard to to do the right thing and to make it right. So have faith in us. We're looking forward to, we hear all of you out there in the community talking about this important thing. And thank you. And I did subscribe Jeffrey Boney for AARP magazine. Thank you. All right. Item number 12, our closed executive session. The time is 10:16 p.m. We do have a closed executive session. Item pursuant to 551.074 of the Texas Government Code. Thank you all. One, two, three, four, five. Okay, City Council is now back in regular City Council meeting. Time is 11:49 p.m. With no further business, no action items. Meeting is adjourned at 11:50 p.m. Thank you.